I think he has
been
a big part of D Plus in sticking with their ways and not adapting as much as we've seen a lot of other teams do. We'll see if he has a different read moving into this week here against T1. A very tough matchup, but there are no easy matchups in the Legend group, even for T1. Come in with first pick as their choice here and right of first selection. This is a volatile one against D Plus, so I am excited to see how this all breaks down in terms of the draft as well as what we see on the Rift itself.
Yeah, I think that also the run that D Plus have been on since that matchup against T1 has been pretty important as well, right? The fact that, you know, they have found some pretty good victories over their last couple, I think is going to put them in better standing than what we would have assumed had we just gone with the last bit of information about this exact matchup, which was not great for D+. So I think still the underdogs here. We'll see what they can do, whether we can have 3 games here at this T1 Homeground, and I'm hoping that we can, because the KSPO Dome is looking absolutely magical, and we just kind of want to stick around, you know?
We will have that matchup against Genji later on.
That's true. We will come back.
The big rivalry, of course, but for today, it's just this one, as we'll see the Nocturne first before the Bard.
Yeah.
Giving Owner the respect he deserves on one of his best, and honestly, I associate Nocturne with him more than any other player. He was playing it before it was the meta, and I think it is meta because of him as well.
And he was just winning all the time. It was just kind of ridiculous, so I think having that ban come on through is definitely a good idea. There are only 2 more slots, though, and the Orianna and the Cassiopeia, that is where we're running into a little bit of issues. They are going to ban the Cassiopeia themselves, so that does give that Orianna ban over to D+.
Yeah, I think that they're looking for something else here completely.
And Wolf, I need to ask you, right? So I was talking to Huni and Wajid yesterday.
มาผมดูดราฟมันดีกว่าครับคุณผู้ชมมาแล้วครับ
That Vi first pick is a trap.
It is a trap.
เดี๋ยวนะใครลงครับ
I don't like it right now.
Owner ลง Oh my god Panther
You have to build your comp a little bit and then pick Vi.
ก็คงเป็นแบบเพราะว่าในบ้านด้วยวะ
This is rule number 1.
So I think they were thinking about if there's no Nocturne ban, we might get the Lucian early. We're considering also, of course,
โอ้แบน Nocturne บาท
that's left available.
Lucian
But you're not allowed. Oh my
มี
god,
คามิ
they
ล
didn't even pick it.
I know they could have even gone for first pick Jace for Doran.
คิดถึง Panther
in this matchup right now, but he's been one of our best Jace players.
แต่ปกติแล้วคือตะกี้เสียงมันแบบว่าน่าเป็นเพราะว่าพี่รีโมทไปด้วยคือพี่ขับรถไปด้วยแล้วคือพอติดไฟแดงพี่ก็กดรีโมทแบบตั้งค่าคอมแบบโอ้โหสตรีมจากข้างนอกอ่ะแล้วพอแบบว่าทำทุกอย่างเสร็จปุ๊บกดเปิดสตรีมเสียงแม่งระเบิดน่าเป็นเพราะว่ารีโมทด้วยเพราะรีโมทมันจะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องเน็ตอะไรเงี้ยแต่ทีนี้จะแก้ปุ๊บก็คือแบบขึ้นลิฟต์รีบขึ้นมาแก้ถึงพอดี
I think the Orianna a very good idea. The Jhin going to be locked in here to just free up some space.
Oh, wow,
the way I feel Jhin has been utilized more recently allows you to play towards that top side a little bit more effectively.
โอเลน่านะ
So self-sufficient.
อย่าบอกนะว่าจะเป็นล็อกอะของเวเกอร์วันนี้จะคาบ้านหรือเปล่าทีวันต้องการชัยชนะเพื่อขึ้นไปอันดับ 1
But instead, with the lane prio, they're hoping to achieve here with this Camille, looking for
และล็อกมาจริงครับผม
potentially here.
And look, do you know what this is? And I want to
โอ้โห
say
มาจริงเลยฮะกดเลยทันที
sink in everyone.
ล็อกของเฟเกอร์ครับถ้าวันนี้ทีวันชนะขอแค่ชนะก็คือจะเป็นอันดับ 1ของกลุ่มแล้วโอเนอร์ได้กลับมาลงอีกรอบครับ
Incredible play that he made. 0-8.
ก็คงหนีไม่พ้นต้องเป็นแบบอารมณ์แบบนาฟิลี่ป่ะตรงนี้คือมันต้องเป็นคอปแบบว่า execute หมดเลยป่ะหรือว่าจะวายไม่มีป๊อปปี้น่าเลือกวายอยู่นะหรือจะเอมเบซ่านั่นไงวายจริงครับเฮ้ยถามจริงพี่เป็นโค้ชอะไรอย่างนี้ไม่ได้หรอพี่เป็นอะไรที่แบบเกี่ยวกับวงการนี้ไม่ได้หรอคือพี่อ่านดับแบบว่าออกแบบหมดเลยอะ
Even though it wasn't the setup I was expecting, it's still a Vi draft here with the Camille. And Xin will be the answer here for Lucid. Just have that durable front line, and is one of the better ball carriers. Although,
แล้วกดเป็นชินเฉามา
would have preferred the Jarvan if we're looking at ball carriers alone or the Nefiri. But ultimately, they do end up going for this Xin instead.
Yeah, this is interesting though, because I feel like this opens the doors for an Olaf pick later. I feel like Jarvan can make that a little bit awkward.
พี่คิดว่าคนแบนลีโอน่านะ
Well, if he's ever going to get targeted there. Now just going to be focusing on what Pays wants to be picking up. I do think that Lucid is also just a really good Xin player. Does pair very well with the Orianna at the same time, so the mid jungle synergy
มันเหลือซัพพอร์ตตัวอะไรที่แบบ
be there.
Yeah, I think you need something with a little bit.
ไม่งั้นก็แบนเป็น
setup
แบน
here for Pays.
แบนเวนแล้วเลือก
Israel works
ทำเหมือนจะเลือก
perfectly
นาก็ได้ปะ
because it is able to
แบนเคลดจะเลือกโอลาฟครับผม
that Olaf pick you were talking about with the Kled ban.
Yeah.
You know, Ezreal can poke so that Faker can follow up with the lock to get those executes.
ไม่ใช่
when
พี่
the
ที่
engage
พี่
comes
ทำงานอยู่
through.
หลัง
Makes
บ้าน
it
ที
really
วันเหรอ
simple. So I like that ban, not just because Pays is an incredible Ezreal player. What else like that would they want to take away here? Or will they now just ban the Olaf with the Kled removed? Those are some considerations. I'd rather just see the Olaf ban. It feels like a safe, sure
จะแบน
ban.
โอลาฟหรือเปล่า
I mean, you just don't need to ban it.
ไม่
Why
อะ
don't
แบ
you
น
just
เป็น
let
ซิก
T1 ban Olaf counters and then pick it. Like, you may as well just do it that
จ
way.
ริงๆคอมของ T1
I find it
เห
a
มาะ
little
กับ
bit
การเล่น
strange
เอเบ
that
ซ่ามากก
T1
ว่า
are making that Olaf on 4 feel like the right call.
หรือไม่ก็แบนโอลาฟแล้วเลือก
This
เอ
is
เบ
a
ซ่า
Jax
ได้
ban,
นะ
I'm gonna lose my mind. It's
Yeah.
just very confusing. But we'll see what they do
Olaf
decide
plus
to do.
Jhin is also
แบนอาริสตาครับผม
good. We'll see the Alistar removed.
เป็นอีกหนึ่งตัวที่เขาวที่แล้วแบบ
The Ziggs was a pick that I was
เจ
talking
น
about.
จี
that can
เจอ
help
มา
set
แล้ว
the
เล่น
lock,
ไม่
but also
เล่นไม่ได้เลย
works
แต่
well
ว่า
by
สุดท้าย
Keels,
ชนะ
so
อยู่ดี
That's a great ban. It's similar to the Ezreal conversation I was just having. Rel
เอ
feels
เบ
pretty
ซ่า
good
คือ
with
โด
the
นทุบ
Orianna.
แล้วน่าจะเอเบซ่าท็อปนะพี่คิดว่า
The Olaf on you. Wait, there
เหลื
is
อโอ
no
ลาฟ
Vayne
อยู่
ban.
There's no Vayne ban and there's no Jax ban.
Yeah, and the Vayne is a kind of awkward matchup into the Olaf. I was actually having a conversation with Huni about it yesterday.
โหแล้วเมมจัดอะดีเคจะเอาลาสพิกด้วยไม่เอาโอลาฟ
But there are
แล้วลีโอ
options
น่า
in
มาจริงครับผม
Plus.
หรือ
Rel, I like
Worried about
more.
the Olaf.
I like the Rel more. They like
เอา
the
เป็น
Rel more. But
Real.
I guess
ถ้าลีโอน่าน่าจะกด
this
โอ
is
ลาฟ
how
เลย
you
ที
use
วัน
the
แต่ว่า
counter
พอ
pick
เป็น
as
เรียล
D+.
ก็เลยแบบ
You're gonna match the support with the Camille.
เอเบซ่า
Could be played top lane, but extremely unlikely.
แต่กลัวสเวนอยู่นะถ้าเกิดเลือกแบบพลิกเนี้ยแล้วเจอสเวนก็ไม่แปลกนะ
Crazy, but
ถ้าเลือกไคสะมาพวกพี่มีสิทธิ์โดนถ้าเลือกไคสะ
No, I don't think
กับ
that's a good idea.
แต่
But
ไค
we'll
สะ
see what
จะ
they
ดีเหรอ
decide to do ultimately here. There's not a whole lot of
ไม่น่า
potent
เวิร์กว่ะ
AD carry left. Maybe Varus, but I don't think so.
เอา
in
เจ
this
ส
draft.
โอ้
They need to get these champions
โอลาฟ
whittled
ว่ะ
down. Now they are going to go for the Olaf here ultimately, and it'll probably be a Jax here for Shu as a response.
Yeah, a little bit worried about
เดี๋ยว
that.
เจอ
I feel like the
ซีวู
Jax
พี่ว่าน่าจะเลือก
less
อีลาวลี่
successful, although Frog did kind of go ballistic on it yesterday. Carrier, what are we going to be picking for Pays? That is the question.
มีแบน
that we
เคล็ด
have
ด้วย
right now.
เกาหลีเขาเริ่มหยิบลงแรงกันเหรอครับ เอามาเคาน์เตอร์โอลาฟไปเฉยครับ
But it is very
แล้วคราว
risky.
ที่แล้วซีวู
Yeah, it's
เล่นไป
almost feeling like a pick away
แล้วใคร
as well.
สาจริง
The
เชี่ยถ้า
Kai'Sa
เกิดตรงนี้
is
เป็น
what
สเวนก็คง
comes
ไม่
in.
แปลกใจ
I feel like Kai'Sa has really been rapidly reaching
ตรงนี้ถ้าเป็น
higher
สเวน
priority here in the LCK.
ก็คงไม่แปลก
Vayne
แต่
having
พี่
a
ว่า
great experience
ถ้า
on
จะ
it
เอาแบบปกติก็
recently.
อีลาว
And that will be the
Ilauli.
lock-in. So there's that Jax that you were talking about.
ไม่น่าแจ็คอะ
It makes a great teamfight comp, but I just don't know
พี่ไม่รู้
whether I
ว่าแจ็คดีอะ
necessarily feel like this is the right answer to the Olaf.
I think that
Oh,
it's
Jax
great with
Jin.
Orianna. It's great with Rel because any of these AoE pull-ins, either of them, set up for a counter-strike, and vice versa, can be the case as the Jax can leap strike in
น่า
with
แปลก
an
ที่ไม่ใช่
Orianna
สเว
ball
น
on
ครับ
top of him, set up the shockwave, and then set up
แต่อาจจะเป็นเพราะว่า
counter-strike
สเวนอาจจะโดน execute โดย
I just the Kai'Sa is the part of this draft here for T1
ไอ้
that
ล็
I
อก
feel
ได้
like you didn't need because you already have so many ways to get on
คุณ
top of
กิฟ
the
เป็น
back
เมม
line.
เบอร์ทีวัน
And
เมมเบอ
now
ร์
you're
พาส
sacrificing
ก็
a lot
ซื้อ
of lane with this. If it's
T1
like
signature เลยนะ
AP Kai'Sa for
ไม่
poke,
โซเอานะ
that's also probably not
ไม่
good,
มีเลยอะ
but
พี่ไม่
at
เป็น
least it would
T1
give you the
เมมเบอร์
opportunity
อะ
to whittle those health bars down so
คือ
that
เราซื้อกล่องได้เลยเหรอครับ
success because prio-wise here you got a volatile matchup
วัน
in
นี้
top
วันนี้
side.
พี่อยากรู้
You've
ว่า
got
ทำยัง
a
ไง
pretty
อะ
Orianna favored matchup in mid, and then you have a Kai'Sa lane in the bottom
เราต้อง
lane.
ทำยังไงอะอยากได้กล่อง
So
T1
it
อะ
can win into Jhin Rel
อ๋อ
depending on
ใช่ใช่
how
ถ้าเป็นการรั
careers
กษา
and
เกาหลี
ages
ไม่
go,
เอาอะ
but the lock is otherwise just going to kind of be waiting for an opportunity a lot of the time in this game. But maybe Pays knows something we don't. Maybe his Kai'Sa is going to be winning
Wow.
lane here. Maybe the Kai'Sa
Homeground ครับ
practices
T1
a
วัน
lot
นี้
and thinks that he can actually overcome this bottom lane. Because if he can, I really do like T1's draft. If they can win lane, that volatile topside matchup for both of these players, by the way. When I think about Shiu and I think about Dor and I think about, I don't know who's going to win that one. And it's pretty scary that one of them might actually just really get ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This might be a game that's just won on the top side of the map because we know what Olaf can do if he gets ahead. We have seen more and more of them struggle
ไป 200,000 แล้วล่าสุด
as people sort of
ไอ้เชี่ย
develop their
แล้ว
idea on how this matchup works. I feel like the
แต่เรา
way
ยังทัน
Frog
ใช่ปะ
played
คือ
yesterday,
มัน
though,
แบบ
was
มีเวลา
just
เนาะ
exceptional. Let's get on to the Rift though for game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
My goodness.
D plus a little bit more muted, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, I was trying to hear whether we actually got it because it's not being fed into our heads maybe at the
มาครับผม
Okay, no, we're just listening to a lot.
เฟเกอร์เงินนำชนะละเฟเกอร์เงินนำโชว์เมเกอร์5 โกครับ
Smashing Korea
ติ๊กวาด
position here towards this bottom side of the map as Pays and Carrier is an interesting one, and they are going to start off with a pretty nice hook shot, but it's a good crash down here from Korea to
ระวั
start
งนั
us
ดสี่
off.
นะเพส
Fourth
โอ้
shot
เพสเอาหน้า
going to be
จุ่ม
safe
เล
for
ย
Pays.
แต่ได้เลือดเยอะกว่าครับ
And a little bit low, a little bit more shared damage on the T1 side.
แรงจัดเลยเนาะ Camille.
For the Rel, you want to fight for Prio there into the Camille, but aren't ever going to be able to have the same sort of engage at level 1, so does get a lot of health back here as he chokes through that potion. And when they hit level 2, some of that will also go up in terms of his total health.
ไอสะมาจริง
And the observers agree and pan away.
Yeah, Doran already using his exhaust into Shiu's ignite. So the top
อุ้ย
lane
แล้ววาร์ปกลับต่อหน้าแบบนี้ก็
this one off, but looks like
ไปเทรดยังไงไม่รู้ครับโดราน
pretty comfortable
โล
position.
มากต้องกลับ
Both
บ้า
of
น
these top laners don't have teleport.
Exactly.
So very important to win at this time.
He has
เอ็ก
no
ซอร์เพื่อเอาตัวรอดไปด้วยเจอ
We got a lot of
ซิวกด
experience
อีกไนท์ไปเมื่อกี้ข้างบนบวกกันแบบ
underneath his health bar there, but it's a free
แย่แล้ว
battle
อ่ะเลนบน
for
แย่
Shiu.
แล้วอ่ะเลนบนโดรานแย่แล้วอ่ะ
So that's going to be a pretty big edge he's going to have in the next exchange that these two have, as Doran will get the farm that's under turret here, can hold that wave in an uncomfortable spot.
And this is all goes back to what you were talking about, right? With how lock works. You want to have priority in your lanes in order to allow for dives, for roams, and all this sort of stuff. Extra positions on the map. Faker right now doing a decent job in lane, but it is Showmaker that's winning these health trades. As another counter-strike comes in. Shiu is just empowering the flash forward. Gets the flash out of door and leap strike comes in. One more, it's first blood. Shiu is going to go down. It's a 1 for 1.
โอ้ซิวครับฆ่าโดรานคาบ้านครับ Oh my god
He only got 7 of those CS
and it's
there.
pushing back.
It's pushing
oh my
back.
god.
โอ้แล้วเวฟดันกลับมาด้วยครับซิวตัวนี้ชนะเล่นบนขาดแบบมากอะเวฟดันกลับมา
As well as
โดรานเมื่อกี้เหมือนจะเวฟแค่7 ตัวครับ
right now it's lucid so he could take this scuttle crab and then just come immediately top side there
เวฟ7 กับ 11 แล้วเวฟดันเข้าแบบนี้น่าจะ20 ต่อไม่เกิน10
but not winning top side and again a volatile matchup with Lock that's a really tough one for how the win con is either going to work out
แล้วลูซิดมาย้ำอีก Oh my god
top side here Doran gonna find out
Yep.
โดรานไม่มีแฟน
Thinking about trying to put a ward down, but it looks like Lucid's position was given away.
He just can't farm, Atlas.
Yeah, he can't. Like, this is the thing, because Lucid could be there, no matter what. And he is going to get some vision down, but this is a disaster. If he had died there, the game would be over.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
But
it
at
just
least
would have been over.
At least he didn't, right? At least he has that knowledge.
18 ต่อ 7 แล้วเงิน
Look, I
250 โก
don't have vision top side. Now Doran put a ward down, but until that moment, it's like, there's a pretty high chance he's right there with how she has his wave set up. So Doran just has to accept that he can't get that money. This is really frustrating. So we're going to go back to the initial exchange here.
นี่ตอนเวฟดันเข้า
I thought we were going to go back to see how they use their sums, but
อ๋อไม่ตอนข้าง
in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Here's dead.
ได้เหรอครับ
Gonna be Carrier with the kill on
ได้
the
ใครได้ฆ่าเป็นเคเลีย
realm.
วะ
That happened to begin with, but definitely
เสียงเฮแบบดังมาก
good start here as far as the bottom lane play for T1. Carrier just back to his POM ways.
T1
the home ground.
T1
My guess is that Carrier turned a flash of career.
ใครมันติ๊กอะไรไม่หยุดเลยวะ เสียงติ๊กแม่งดังมากอะ
Career probably first to move. Let's see. Yes. Career first to move on this one, looking for a backstop. And Carrier's right here.
What the fuck carrier
Yeah, cute idea, but not exactly one that was going to really work out.
It's Hayes who helps get that extra shot in, so the Ignite takes him away.
Oh, in the meantime, Faker taking a bit of damage here in mid. His career does show up fresh from base. But looks like Faker is doing just fine. Only 5 CS down.
ไอซ์ตอนนี้คือไม่ได้กลับมาเติมของสักที
75% win rate here, 12 and 4.
He was a
LCK.
big winner on Gen G during the Kaisa meta.
And JDG as well. I feel like he did like to play this champion, but not as much success as when he was with Gen G.
That's true.
You
Kaisa was very meta during the year he spent at Gen G and fell off a little bit since then. So that's why you see some of those numbers there. Might actually be, funny enough, like one of his lower win rate champions.
Yeah.
for that year, anyways.
Career's moving up. Going to take a few nails here from Faker, but it looks like nothing too much. Going
จะแกงให้ได้เลยให้ตายดิพระเจ้า
They know exactly what they
โอ้โห
need
เวฟ
to
ดัน
do.
แล้วแต่ว่าอย่างนี้ก็
Kill Doran before
ดี
6.
ไหมนะ
That would
เว
be
ฟ
the
มัน
best thing. But also keep the Olaf down. That is going to be the most important part of this game.
Jax, if you can start playing through topside and get these grubs and the Jax side lane win con is online.
ตัว W จิ้มนี่ตายแล้วนะโอเนอร์ดูแล
Your ball carrier is if you can get an extra
ไม่รู้
arm
ว่า
guard, for example, Shiu is just in such a good spot putting the Olaf down is a big win, but getting
น่าจะอ่านกันแต่ว่าไม่มีวาดวิชั่นในไซส์เลสเลยนะแต่ว่าโอเนอร์เปิดมังกร
as a result of this. So T1 still heavily winning on this
ดูได้ยังไงวะ
the map despite a bit of a Jack's problem top side.
โอ้ได้มังกรฟรีจากการที่โดนโดนกดครับผมเฟเกอร์มาเช็คให้นะเช็คเลสบัฟให้ไม่เจอนะไม่เจอแสดงว่าตะกี้โดรานน่าจะโอ้โห W ไม่โดนเพสโทษทีครับพี่กิฟต์ตะกี้ผมคิดว่าน้องเขาจะเดินไปทางขวานะครับจะเขาด้านหลังแต่ว่ามีวาดหรือวิบัติไหมโอ้
Imagine though, like a world where Pays ults on top of
Faker lock
Career after he gets found by Carrier in the jungle. That's what they were trying to set up for. Could have happened. It would have been such a
ซับ
problem.
คู่นี้เคเลียกับแคริเอร์
but it doesn't work out.
Nope, not quite yet.
เคกับแคร์
Moving down towards his bottom side once again. Was on a little bit of a roam, but doesn't exactly find too much outside of that control ward that he decided not to destroy, which is interesting. Baker, though, you saw that trade earlier on in the mid lane. That was only a few stacks. And was really able to do a lot of damage to Showmaker.
สละเอสละแอใช่
You know, hints of items that he's put together.
Absolutely.
So good sign for this mid game for the lock, where he does just kind of want to take over.
Yeah, you can take a lot of aggressive electrocute trades. I mean, you have to basically if you're going to play a Smash Midoriya. You don't want to sit back, otherwise you will just chip away at. This is a really valuable ward here. We'll see Carrier coming up in the river.
ยังไม่แก้อีกอะมันเป็น value อะไรไม่รู้
Just going to clear this wave out. Next fight.
เงินอันเดอร์ครับโอ้โหเวฟอันเดอร์ไป30ตัวโอลาฟกับแจ็คเห็นเวฟกดแท็บมาแล้วตกใจอ่ะ
Jax is going to feel amazing 4D plus so I think they absolutely want to fight for it
พยายามจะฟีดเลนดีนายเพื่อเอาเวฟคืนครับโดรานยังดีที่ลูซิดจีไม่ได้นะถ้าลูซิดจีได้นี่หนักเลย
Towards the top side, grabbing those grubs should be a possibility here. Shiu, going aggressive, does find the stun from the counter strike. No Ragnarok to come out from Doran.
แล้วคือเข้าไปตีเวฟก็โดนแบบ
really hitting his stride right now. Not even with his first item completed, but T1 look like they're going to go fight for this one. Cease and desist comes down. Lucid
ได้ปะ SQ ได้ปะ
and he should be taken out. He does flash.
ได้ครับผมเฟเกอร์ได้ครับได้คิวได้ดักซิลด้วยตรงนี้ซิวูมาโอเนอร์พยายามออกมีแฟดอยู่เฟเกอร์แฟดออกมาโอ้โดนแฟดเข้ามาซิวูตรงนี้แต่ว่าได้ไหมได้ครับผมตรงนี้แต่ว่าโอลาฟตีอยู่แค่ดูดเลือดไม่ไหวว่ะเป็นไฟ5-5สโลโดน3คนเคเลียสวยมากเพชรจัดการหน่อยลูกน้องโอ้โหเฮ้ยคืนคอวันโอ้เคเลียต้องตายว่ะโดนไปซ้ำเคเลียสแมทแสบจริงแต่ว่าเพสได้มา3คิวแล้วแล้วโดรานเหมือนจะฟื้นแต่ว่าฟิวมันแฟดแบบยัดเฟเกอร์เลยอะแต่เป็นไฟที่เฟเกอร์น่าจะชอบหรือเปล่าเพราะว่าแต่ว่าแอซิดน้อยไปหน่อยวะไอตัวลุนพวกอันติเมทฮันเตอร์ตัวนี้มันไม่ตายสักทีงงมากอ๋อเฟเกอร์ไม่ได้โยนไปโยนตรงไกลๆนู้นทำให้แบบ
They're super split, right? And she was able to find Faker here, has the amazing flash counter strike, which also gets a second stun onto the
นี่สแมนได้โดนโอลาฟเข้านะแต่ว่าแบบสแมนยิงแล้วก็แฟดออกนัด4ไม่กล้าเท่าไหร่
Super high value as well as they commit flashes on the chase, and then Smash here is able to get some strays, but or just one stray, I should say there, but still. A disaster for D plus, I would say, but at least they got something out of it. They didn't get the full 3 grubs, they got the 2, and they did get that additional kill there with Smash. And this Jax is still a win con to play through.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think the game state remains the same, but with T1 like with a little bit more of an advantage, I guess. But it's still top side belongs to DK, bottom side belongs to T1. The problem is T1 have been pretty good at playing around Pays. This guy kind of just wins games. He's real good at it. And this Kai'Sa, we saw Taeyeon on it just recently, really be able to carry in the later game as well. And I don't think the Jin is really going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with Pays on 3 items, for example.
ในแรงค์21หรือยังโอ้โหจริงเหรอแม้แต่ว่าแรงมันบางเกมมันก็สนุกบางเกมมันก็จืดมันก็นับไม่ได้หรอก
I think the one that comes to mind for most is Teddy, to be honest, but it's a pick that when you get ahead, which often doesn't happen because you lose lane because it's a Kai'Sa draft, it means that you have to make these really incredibly complex plays later on, or the enemy team has to make a mistake and gift you over some kills.
ใครสาพี่ว่ามันเก่งกว่านะเลดเกมแต่ว่าปัญหามันคือแบบ
I'm playing easy mode on Kai'Sa.
ส่วนใหญ่แล้วมันเล่นในมันต้องเล่นในคอมเฉพาะเจาะจงจริงอ่ะจริงตอนเนี้ยโอลาฟมันเจอเอมเบซ่ามันถ้าเกิดตอนนี้เป็นเอมเบซ่าจะเหมาะกับคอมทีวันมากกว่าแต่ว่าเอมเบซ่ามันอาจจะเจอโอลาฟแบบ
And look at all the deep vision they have. There's no contest opportunity. So
yes,
the
Jax is
a problem, but the rest of the 80% of the game is a larger one for D+.
It certainly is. Well, Red Call is going to come in here as Ona gets to the back of the pit. The Dragon taking a lot of damage as Lucid comes in. Will he be able to get the steal? That's the question.
โอ้ต่อยแล้วก็สุดๆเลยอันนี้โอเนอร์แต่ว่าลูซิตายไหมลูซิตายแล้วตรงนี้เพสพยายามยิงอยู่ครับสแมทตายแน่นอนนะตรงนี้มังกรน้ำเคเลียไปต่อเหรออุ้ยแรงนะลูกบอล
goes to T1. That one definitely T1 favored, and even
Faker มา W มา
Crashdown is very
ไม่ถึงว่ะไอ้
good
เชี่ย
career to deny the play.
เฮ้ยช็อคเวฟ
Shockwaved by
Showmaker Playmaker
a lot of damage, getting both the damage from the command attack and protect.
I'm actually shocked that Showmaker didn't ult Keria there. He had a huge opportunity to, but maybe thought he didn't have enough damage to kill him. It would have been close, but ultimately just uses the ultimate here onto Faker to stabilize.
ขอร้องล่ะอย่าชนะวันนี้จังเลยอ่ะจะได้ขึ้นมาอันดับหนึ่งอ่ะ
And it's a volatile, game here where you can definitely come back with a really nice counter-strike play, but this is all that Smash can do in this fight, really, is try to keep them at arm's length here. It's a really easy fight here for the Vi. As initially, it's like, okay, maybe this fight's a little bit too broken up. Maybe Smash gets something done, but they just isolate him here. Showmaker can't really get access. He doesn't do consistent DPS. The most fed member in the entire game is this Kai'Sa, who has a Kraken Slayer, and she's free hitting, so it's not a good thing for D+in that fight overall. And once again, T1, yes,
เดี๋ยวลงแทนโอเนอร์นะพอดีวันนี้ทีวันฟอร์มดีไปหน่อยโอเคปะทีวันฟอร์มดีเดี๋ยวลงแทน
Almost 2,000 gold ahead, and half of it is Paze's. The other half now is Faker's with 3 kills on the log.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely massive. Storm Surge already done. A lot of the time we do see very early Lich Banes to come on through.
จริงน้องเล่นดีมากแล้วก็
that's been the development more recently is really doing a bunch of work. Execution.
แบบนี้ไม่เหมือนเก้าอี้ดนตรีแต่เป็นแบบเวอร์ชันแบบจังเกิลแทนมันต้องตอนสแมทกูมายูชิเลยน้องกดดันนะวันนั้นแพนก็คือน้องควรมาเล่นนัดนี้น้องควรมาเล่นกับเจอกับดีเคเว้ยไปเจอกับฮาวาไลหรือว่าอ๋อพี่ดูแล้วเราอาจจะมองว่าฮาวาไลเป็นแบบบิ๊กกว่าใช่ป่ะแต่ถ้ามองจากเปอร์เซ็นต์วินเรทอะดีเคเยอะกว่าถ้าเเกิดจะมองแบบว่าหลักจากฟอร์มเลยอะเหมือนฮาวาไลฟอร์มจะน้อยกว่าดีเค
where they have a lot of control. Both top laners do have teleport now.
Yep.
And so if they can win a fight here, they're just right back in it. As maybe Keria is caught.
Yeah, there's a deadly flourish. He's taking a lot of damage. There's the Hextech ultimatum. Gets himself over the wall. This comes on forward. Career in a lot of trouble. There's now Smash is fighting Paze, but I don't think he likes those.
ใครจะได้ฆ่าก่อนครับมาแล้วโอลาฟไปหาลูซิก่อนเลยตายยังโอเนอร์ซีบูเคเลียเชี่ยเคเลียยังไม่ตายเหรอวะเฮ้ยเคเลีย
Paze gets even more, and Faker is picking up so many kills in these fights. 305 on the Kai'Sa, and Faker grabs another kill.
This is a disaster for
น้องแบบอันติเตะหนึ่งทีเอาพาสซีฟแล้วก็แฟดออกไปด้านบนโฮลิชีตเคเลียอยากให้ว่ารู้จักเคเลียว่ะคิดว่าสเปคว่ามันแบบเคเลียป่ะ
They get so much lockdown on him, and look at this. Ults here and gets over the wall. So now you've used so many resources to try to kill a Camille, and then Owners up in the front line.
คือสเปคแบบคือเคเลีย
here first though, and he's the scarier one in a scrap.
น่ารักจะตายอ่ะ
needs a little bit more setup, and the attempt here from the Jhin to try to turn this fight around is feeble at best. But that's how for D+ every single time. T1's lead increases here.
This could be dangerous for Shia. They're going to look to finish off this turn and then finish off the Jax. Can he kill Doran in the meantime is the question. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is no.
และคามิวตกใจอะคามิวได้ป้อมเฉยโดนลานได้ฆ่าละ
That's
I guess
something.
that's something because the Herald wasn't taken in
โอ
that
เคเป็นการ
previous
คอส
fight.
แมป
Wasn't
ที่แบบ
spawned
ไม่ค่อย
yet.
ได้เห็นทีวันทำเท่าไหร่อะเป็นคอสไปเล่นตรงข้ามกับลิเ e อรัล
Very messy here. Now let's see what D+ are able to do with this Herald.
ได้ค่าพร้อมป้อมก็ไม่แย่มากเพราะว่าเขาปล่อยป้อมกลางไม่ระเบิดเว้ย
Two items, Wolf.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of the pauses for D+ right now. There's a lot of good things for T1 right now, at least.
Yeah.
ระวังเขาวาร์ป
They
มา
have
นะ
a Herald. Maybe they could try to use it either in as a combat.
แต่ว่าน่าชอบว่านชอบฟีลแบบ
or perhaps just to get
ว่าน
pride
ถ้าเกิดจะชอบว่านน่าชอบทรงแบบโชวี่ป่ะ
teams I think are ready to send the whole game over, but T1 hold all the cards right now.
I do think Ocean Soul is
ไม่บอก
incredibly
ว่าน
good
ชอบ
for
ทรงแบบ
Roa.
เซ
So I
กา
think
ว่ะ
T+ probably want to deny this if they can. Soul Point is always
Owner
just
เหรอ
so powerful anyway. As Owner with
แบบ
control
ย
of
ก
this
ว่านได้
Prime
เหรอ
Smash, maybe in a little bit of danger, but
ว่านบอก
just
พี่
gonna
ทำไม
back
หนู
away
ต้องชอบ
as they do
ด้วยล่ะ
start off this dragon as it spawns. Faker shows up here, and Shiu is still extremely strong.
I think there's a really strong angle here for a fight
มั
for
ง
D+
กรน้ำอีก
because Hayes has no flash.
แต่มังกรน้ำหมอของทีวันครับแม่งมีพุ่มเยอะ เคเลียเล่นง่ายดี
He's pretty good here as well as they
ไปแล้วเคเลีย
but he still goes in.
ล็อกอยู่ไหนอะล็อกสู้ข้างบนวะ4-4อะตรงนี้ได้ไปครับโชว์เมเกอร์ตายไปแล้วข้างบนเฟเกอร์โซโล่คิวซีวูโอ้ my god Faker
coming out. What the hell happened up there? But two are dead as well from D+ on this bottom side, and that's Soul Point to T1.
It's a disaster again as Lucid wants to come up here and get the Faker punish, and that's a
Faker
lock.
วิ่งหน่
I
อย
think he's pretty quick. I think he's got a bit of
ไม่ได้
mobility.
แฟดโอ
I
เค
don't think you're gonna get him. Faker's gonna get out again.
เอาว่าปู่ล็อกว่า 5-1 ครับปู่ล็อกพร้อมกับดักซิล9
Consolation prize.
Oh my
Storm
goodness.
Razor.
This is really fallen
Hey,
by the
Storm
wayside
Surge.
quickly, has it not?
It's somewhat reminiscent of the last time we saw these teams match up, where D+ just fell a little bit too far behind early with some aggressive team fights, and then T1 run away with the game. T1
พี่
is
เลย
always
รู้สึกว่า
scrapped,
L อ่ะ
but
น่า
you
จะ
don't
ตั้ง
wanna
ชื่อ
scrap when T1 is Faker just
ไอเทม
avoids
ต่างๆ ให้มัน
counter-strike
ง่ายกว่า
advantage
นี้หน่อยจริง
Yeah.
Ults him in point blank range, and he's like, I will hit that
โอ้
threshold. I've
มั
got
น
my
แรงมาก
storm
เทโช
surge.
มันถึงเทโช
And,
มันตาย
I
เลย
think he knew he had to try to do something there.
น่าจะเป็น
There
ตัว
wasn't
ที่
much he could
น่า
do.
อันนี้น่า
He's
พี่ว่า
amazing, right?
ซิวูน่าจะมั่นใจใน
Area
ดาเมจแต่แบบ
collapsing on
ไม่
top of Showmaker here.
ไม่มั่นใจดาเมจ
There's
ของ
not
ล็อก
enough
เท่าไหร่
damage
เพราะว่ามันเป็น
because they have a
แชมเปี้ยน
Jhin
เลนกลาง
as their
อาจจะไม่ได้
secondary
มั่นใจ
source of
ดาเมจ
damage. Their
มาก
Jax is dead, not able to join the fight.
คือมั่นใจ
And
ดาเมจ
the
ตัวเองแต่
snap
ว่า
against his dive comp
กับ
is
ล็อกมัน
incredibly powerful,
อย่างนั้นไม่ได้
especially from
ล็อกมันแบบ
ahead.
ไม่ต้องตีด้วยซ้ำอะมาตีก็ดีแต่ว่าแบบกดคิวรัว
Pay's going aggressive onto Smash here, but the arm guard that Faker has is going to make life so much more difficult for D+, and he's getting closer and closer to just having a
แต่
zombie.
กังวลอยู่นะวันที่เจอฮาวาไลท์ปู่ฟอร์มโคตรแบบบ้าไปเลยอะแบบเหมือนกาลิโอเหมือนแบบเกมแรกเหมือนจะเหมือนฟอร์มจะดีอะแต่พอเกม2เหมือนแบบเหมือนง่วงแล้วอะเหมือนเล่นได้แค่วันละเกม
And turrets is falling all over the place.
When Faker gets a bit of durability plus the zoning, which is completed by the way now.
ต้องแบบหา M150 อะไรอย่างงี้
He will be able to get a second set of combos off. One of the things about Locke
เกมแรกเวอร์มากเกม2เกม3เหมือนแบบกูว่ามันง่วงไงบอกไม่ถูก
is the ability to burst him down when he goes in for his initial ult
เขา
drop.
เกมฮาวาไลท์เขาคุยกันไปแล้วว่าแล้วพี่
So often he just kind of waits
เจนจีกับ
for the rest of the team to
อ๋อ
do the
กูมา
work
กับ
when
ซุด
he's the
ขอ
finisher
มาวีคนี้ยังไม่ช
closer.
นะใครเลย
But
อ๋อ
when you actually have Azonius, you could be the starter and the ender.
มึงก็ให้เขาเนาะใช่หรอ
First, layer all that damage and drop
เฟ
your
เกอร์ตรง
ultimate
นี้
down,
มันจะโดน
and then
อยาก
pop
รู้
out
ว่าจะทำไง
Azonius and
โด
do
น
it
ช็อคเวฟ
again.
ไปก่อน
Well,
เฟเกอร์ไม่มี
Lucid
W
looking for an angle
ต้อง
towards
สู้ต้อง
Faker here.
สวน
Let's see
สู้
whether he can
โอ้เสีย
outplay
ดักซิล
it
อีก
as the
ฟัก
audacious charge does come on
นา
through.
ฬิกาว่ะ
There's the purgatory. And Faker is going to then try and use that Ashen Pursuit to get himself out, but I don't think it's going to work.
ทำทุกอย่าง
The
แล้ว
Grey Health still goes down, and Lucid going to claim that kill. What are they getting on the cross?
ซิวูโดนนะผมตรงนี้
And the answer is
ไม่ต้องตีด้วยซ้ำครับ
As
ส
the
แมั
cease
ตาย
and desist is going to come on in. And you didn't need to tell him twice. He is just dead.
Gonna get smashed and the whole turret. And that's a huge prize considering they did not lose their turret Herald. Herald is still in inventory, by the way. The one thing that D+ got this game hasn't even been used yet. They still have their turret up. They get the mid-turret Heraldless on the cross map. And it's just a whole disaster here again. I mean, I keep using that word, but like nothing
It's
is going
pretty
right.
disastrous, Wolf. I can completely understand.
I mean, this is Keria tries to rotate up and Faker calls off the play. You can see the moment on the minimap where Keria's like,
อันนี้คือนาฬิกาเพื่อรอสกิล
yeah, and they all just swarm Smash, who thinks he's safe between two turrets.
โอ้โห8
What he doesn't know
116
is a Camille in his jungle flying through a Vi. Vi Camille This is the Vi draft angle we were talking about with this amount of burst, with the Kai'Sa fall, but the Kai'Sa not supposed to be as fed as she is, but when she's really fed,
she's got 3 items,
I guess
man.
Vi is good, man. I guess it works.
Yeah, and she's a very good win more champion, always has been. And I also think, like, remember, the Vi was picked 3rd here. They already had a bit of a draft identity to understand how this was going to work, as Lucid goes in onto Pays, and then goes in onto Shelly, and Donuts, and decides
that's how they use the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this Herald is just going to do nothing at all.
That's the state of the game.
Yeah, that's the state of D+ right now. Not really understanding what they're supposed to be going for, not able to use their resources all that effectively. And when you
พี่เข้าใจแล้วว่าริเพอร์ลมันไม่มีประโยชน์เลยถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าทีมมันเสียอย่างอื่นเยอะคือมันของมันตามเยอะมันไม่มีประโยชน์เลยเพราะว่าปล่อยแล้วมันชนไม่ได้เว้ยเดินไปปล่อยใกล้ๆยังไม่ได้เลยประโยชน์เท่ากับ0
You have to build like this as Showmaker, and you have to hope that even though you have to put yourself in harm's way and play greedily, play riskily, that you can have one shockwave that sets up a Rel or Jack's follow-up, because you have to win this game off a mistake from T1. If they're too clumped and you have that one opportunity, that one moment, you can steal this game away because this comp is incredibly powerful even from behind if it can wombo T1. But T1 I don't think are going to give you that chance. I don't think they're going to give you that opportunity, but you have to pray for it because that's the one way back into this game is some sort of crazy setup.
Yeah, but I just don't think they have the damage, right? Especially if this Ocean Soul comes in for T1. The opening salvo needs to kill Pays before he can press on. The problem is he's got Clem. Got so many other options here.
พี่ให้มังกรน้ำนี่คือแบบสุดยอดมังกรตัวแรกเลย
So there's only one cleanse
ที่แบบจะดีสำหรับทีมมาก
But I don't know. I think Pays probably got enough money in his hordes of cash in order to buy a QSS as well.
I mean, look at all this
คอนโซลแล้วครับตรงนี้ถ้าเกิดไม่ทำอะไรสักอย่างจะฆ่าซิวโอเนอร์ยังอยู่ในภูมิมังกรน้ำมันดีตรงนี้เฟเกอร์กำลังจะเข้าไปโดรานติดรับโดรานไล่และโชว์เมเกอร์ที่เดินด้อมๆมองๆครับผมหาจังหวะมันโดนล้างบางเลยว่ะล้างบางครับผมตรงนี้ GG แล้ว
And she was just wondering where the heck his teammates went. There's a counter strike. It should be a quadra here for Faker. As Pays will be taken out. But that is all. That's the only thing they get for the ace.
เชี่ยเพสตายว่ะ
Ocean Soul and they will likely be able to open up this
เส้นเงินนะเชี่ยไม่ดีเลยว่ะ
commit to it, but they can also
พี่คิดแล้วน้องน่าจะตายนะเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้เคลนด้วยไง
on smite duty double time here across both objectives
ตะกี้ตีรีเซ็ตดีด้วยตีแบบรีเซ็ตตีอะไรไม่รู้ตาย
pretty small here. We're only 25 minutes or so into this game. Actually only 23 and a half. As watch Shiu in this fight, like he can't get access here, and then he's like, well, when they go on Showmaker, he'll shock blast, and I'll follow. So he's like, I'm waiting for your call, Showmaker, on this one. This Faker's still denying him entry, right? When the area buying age comes through again,
ทำให้ฝั่งหนึ่งแบบสู้ไม่ได้ต้องถอยอ่ะแล้วพอถอยปุ๊บก็คือเข้าคอมแบบทีวันแบบเป๊ะเลยทีวันเป็นคอมแบบว่ามึงถอยโดนตรงนี้นึกว่าแบบว่าจะสตันเฟเกอร์แล้วแบบแม่งแรงจริง1,970
on that play. So that's something, you know, he's only 79 gold behind.
There you go.
He got that arm guard that I was talking about, that, you know, as soon as you get a bunch of money, you can pick that one up. He has that. And again, we're going back to square one here where D+ have to go for some sort of Hail Mary and look for a wombo. Maybe even starting the Baron if T1 back here away and looking for that kind of crazy turn could be the way to steal this game away. As Shiu has top damage in the game.
ที่วันนำเยอะครับแต่ก็ยังเรียกว่าอุ่นใจได้ระดับหนึ่งเพราะว่าเพสเล่น ADC ยังอุ่นใจระดับหนึ่งได้แต่ว่าแจ็คมันก็โหดนะแต่แจ็คมันโหดแค่ไหนมันเจอวายต่อยรัวๆได้อยู่
Ona finding an angle towards Korea though. There's a great shattering strike to try and get rid of the vibe. But he's still taking so much damage.
ใช้วิธีต่อแล้วตรงนี้ไม่ต่อแล้วว่าเอาจริงแล้วว่า execute แล้วตรงนี้โอลาฟ
As Lucid also throwing out his ulti, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough.
สวยมากครับโดรานครับไม่ต้องโซโล่ครับผมแค่หนีครับแล้วก็รอฆ่าซีวูอีกที
Down goes the Jax once again.
You almost killed the Olaf, but he had flash and you didn't.
แล้วโอลาฟตะกี้คือแบบว่าไปตีนิดนึงแล้วเลือดเด้งมาอีก
And it's a 9,000 gold lead.
Yeah, it's a 9,100 gold lead.
9,100
As they get the Baron, they push it to 10k. They're gonna get this inner, and now we're just reading.
Nice.
We're reading the obituary of D+. So there's no way back in this game anymore. Even if you get a wall,
ตอนนี้ทีวันมีโอกาสไปเวอร์ประมาณกี่เปอร์เซ็นต์
the
ดีวะ
damage is so minuscule.
And this is one of
ต้อง
my
รอจบ
favorite things as well
ซีรีส์นี้
because I feel like this has been a plan from T1s from the very beginning of the draft, right? With their ban strategy, it
อย่าเพิ่ง
is
เหรอ
bait the Orianna pick and then use it to give Locke a lane that Faker is very comfortable playing. I don't necessarily feel like this is like Locke favored or anything, but it's very obvious that Faker is super confident in this matchup specifically.
โอเลน่ามันคือถ้าเกิดใครเปิดเว็บ u.gg ก็คือโอเลน่ามันคือตัวแรกที่เคาน์เตอร์ก็คือเอล็อกนั่นแหละมันสู้ไม่ได้เลยเว้ย
Faker shouldn't have been given the nail gun, Wolf. As Lucid is in a lot of trouble.
Shockwave
does come on through though.
Faker
and Faker will be shut down. Clockwork Windup going to be helping out there. Showmaker does get that kill.
Can they punish Doran? I don't think so. He doesn't have flash, but he has his ult.
He's level 17 and she was level 15. She was winning by like 2,000 gold in this game. It's insane. Doran really has just become a behemoth in the later stages of this one. 11,000 gold. A lot of it is thanks to his teammates, but Doran has been a huge benefactor here as 2 siege minions looking to take down this bottom inhibitor turret, and everyone else on T1 is looking to push through mid. And I don't know whether D+ are going to be able to do anything about it. Doran does take a lot of damage from Showmaker here. She was so mad. He's so ready to just fight whatever's in front of him.
Yeah, he really is, but unfortunately for him,
จริงทีวันชอบมีแบบชอบเก่งเกมแรกว่ะเจอ KC แบบใน MSI นี่คือแบบว่าโอ้โหเฮ้ย MSI หรือ EWC วะคือแบบชิลจัดอะ
Look at how far away Carrier is. I think if
เกมแรกนี่คือแบบน้องแบบนั่งเล่นเลยอะ
But he just gets Crescent Guard denied, or the follow-up is Crescent Guard denied as Showmaker shows up here. So I mean, it's pretty close by, but it just doesn't matter. You know, like, if this was a game-losing play, people would criticize Faker for, oh, maybe you should have realized, but
ตัวจริงๆมันมีตัวเคาน์เตอร์โอลาฟเยอะแต่ว่ามันเป็นตัวที่แบบไม่เหมาะกับเมตาเท่าไหร่อีลาวนี่เพชรก็แบบไม่ค่อยบอกซีรีส์เกาหลีเท่าไหร่ซีรีส์เกาหลีเขาชอบเล่นแบบเซฟเพชรโดนน่าตาย
He's going to go golden, but I don't know whether that's going to be enough to save him. As Downey will go, Disness is going to be there to finish him off.
I mean, if a few more of these mistakes happen,
20 วิที่ไม่มีเพสบาลอนมันจะเกิด
Is there an elephant on a ball balancing somewhere in backstage? Like I'm
เริ่มแล้วว่าทีวันเริ่มเซอร์คัตละ
This one's sort of moving right now.
Well, I think in this moment, Pays might not have been able to correctly breathe fire.
Oh no! Well, Doran is just going to look to dive on top of Showmaker, and that is going to be a mistake. And he just runs his way out of there.
นี่ขนาดมีมังกรน้ำนะ
But he is going to have to avoid a few of these shots. Ono just gets in front of the Olaf and is able to defend
นี่
him. That would have been very comical.
ขอบคุณนะครับโอเนอร์ผมคิดถึงเหลือเกินนะครับ
Bounty gold, you know.
Elders up in 40 seconds. Yeah, this is problematic. Pace is going to be up in 5, so they will be able to get together. But based on what we've just been seeing, maybe we're on more even footing than we thought, because this was a shellacking, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, unfortunately, there's just too many buttons for Pace to outplay there. Like, he has cleanse and flash.
แต่กี้บาลอนมันคือยังไม่ใช่ขอโทษทีบาลอนมันคือ30 วิเมื่อกี้มันคือบัฟบาลอนนะอันนี้บาลอน2 นาที
And it was a good play from D+. I would say
เพสยืนแหลมไปจริงๆแล้ว KT ไม่ใช่DK ไม่น่าเปิดเพสเพราะวิชั่นด้านซ้ายลงตรงแบบตรงแถวหลุมบลูอ่ะไม่มีเลยเว้ยคือแคเรียเปิดแบบตรงนั้นไปนี่มันคือแบบถ้ามีคนซ้อนก็คือแพ้แล้วจบเกมเลยเพสก็ไม่คิดว่าเขาจะเปิดแล้วมันเปิดไงแฟดเปิด
Support jungle, kill the carry, and the carry has not really been the Jhin. It's been Showmaker.
โอเนอร์ไม่รู้ทำอะไรตรงนั้นครับโอเนอร์นี่คือแผนอ้อมไกลครับผมแผนอ้อมแบบ Oh my god
is looking to get in behind D+. So far it's working. They do have decent defensive vision. They are going to find him out right now as he makes his way in. Ashiu is just looking to push this way forward, put the pressure on. As the Elder
ไม่กล้าเปิดตอนนี้ทีวัน50แล้วนะแบบเนี้ยเงิน10,000ก็ไม่สนนะ10,000อ่ะบอกให้ไปละต่อยโอลาฟเข้าไปหาใครครับหาจินหาโชว์เมเกอร์โอ้ my god โชว์เมเกอร์ตายเพราะว่าจินครับผมตรงนี้ด้านหลังแนวหลังนี่ระเบิดมาแล้วเพสออกมาได้ไม่ได้ด้วยครับโอ้เรียบร้อยครับอย่างนี้ DK อยากเจอ KC ว่ะอยากรีแมตช์ BLG ด้วย
As Lucid's going to escape, but I mean, where are you going to go, my friend? Maybe
we'll
to game number 2.
Yeah, I think you and I are on the same page on that one. The only person
upset
that CV Max about that team
BLG KC G2 อ่ะมัดไปเลย
Gio made the play, they had the combo, but they were just too far behind.
ดินแดนเกาหลีมันไม่สามารถได้แบบลังไว้ได้แล้วมันที่ว่ามันเลยจุดแบบจุดนั้นไปแล้วเอานะ
After this game, but ultimately they still win it. They're so far ahead. No cooldown on that Zonius for Faker. They win in dominant fashion.
11-3 กับเฟเกอร์ครับ
At the Homeground. And if we did POGs, I think Carrier would still get it, but he and Owner ran that game together. Even though Paige did the boom boom, he had some flashy plays on the Kaisei, was given those kills early and took over the game. It would not have been possible without the synergy from Carrier and Owner this entire
ออกนำไปก่อนครับ T1 ครับจากการกลับมาของ Owner
after the Painter sub. This is the kind of game you want to see.
Yeah, I also think that it might have been a bit personal as well from Owner. You know, he's just like
คนเยอะมากอ่ะที่วันนี้แม่งคือแบบเหมือนธงชาติแอลเกาหลีกันไม่รู้อะ
And don't worry, Owner, we were used to it. We got a little bit confused when that happened.
We like Painter, but
อยากเจอดาวอังคารออสตาแล้วว่ะ
Painter is a great player. We've been casting him throughout the Kesper Cup, and he's been brilliant. It's just unfortunate, you know. It's like being Lucid when Canyon was the jungler. Like, what's she gonna do? I don't know.
The comeback game of a century.
ออสตาดาวอังคารเลยเหรอ
Of the century. It's a big one. As long as
วิเคราะห์เกมต่อไปแบบจินตนาการหน่อยครับเกมต่อไปเหรอ
It's crazy that Doran did as much damage as he did, but I don't think we were very surprised.
เฟเกอร์เล่นไอ้โลนฟ้าเล่นไลฟ์
was a bit of a dead giveaway. D+ decided not to pick away the Olaf.
ไม่น่าเจอแคสซี่น่าจะโดนแบนน่าจะเจอกับ
The Jax just didn't quite work out the same way it did for Frog yesterday. But ladies and gentlemen,
ข้างบนเป็นเอเบซ่าโดราน
the LCK. It's a best of
โอเนอ
3.
ร์
D+ have a chance to even out the
โอเนอร์เล่น
series. We'll
J4
see whether they can after this break and the space.
อาจจะเป็นเอเบซ่าหรือไม่ก็เป็นลัมโบเพสเล่นเอสเรียลไม่ใช่เอสเรียลอ่ะเอสเรียลไม่ใช่ลูเซียนไม่ใช่เคเลียเล่นลีโอนาเอสเรียลเปล่าคือโชเมเกอร์ไม่รู้จะเล่นยังไงมันเข้ามาแบบคือโอเลน่าต้องเข้าใจชัดมันเป็นเมดแบบคุมโซนถ้ามันโดนเข้ามาแบบนี้มันทะลักเข้ามาแบบนี้เป็นน้ำไหลแบบนี้ก็คือแบบตัวมันทำอะไรไม่ได้เลยดูดิไม่เห็นช็อกเวฟเมื่อกี้ปะช็อกเวฟเมื่อกี้คือแบบเลือดไม่ลดเลยเฟเกอร์กดรุ่มออกมาอ้วก W ออกมาคือเลือดเต็มอยากรู้ซื้อลิฟต์บาวที่วันยังไงอ่ะจำได้ว่าแบบว่าลิฟต์บาวนี่ไงใช่ปะเชื่อถ้าเกิดพี่จะเปลี่ยนอีเมลได้ไหมอ่ะไม่ใช่ปะเปิด5 ทุ่มหรอเห็นในกลุ่มลงกันแล้ว 45,000 เชื่ออย่างแพงลอตโต้ไม่ส่งไทยต้องหาที่ลงเองเชื่อจะไปส่งที่ไหนอ่ะไม่แต่ทีวันในเว็บว่ามันเป็นภาษาเกาหลีปะพี่อยากได้ภาษาอังกฤษอ่ะราคามันเดือดจังสำหรับใครที่ไม่เล่นการ์ดนะเดี๋ยวพี่จะเปิดราคาการ์ดให้ดูแล้วสำหรับใครที่ไม่เล่นการ์ดนะเดี๋ยวเราลองดูราคานะนี่นะอันนี้เป็นการ์ดลายเซ็นนะเห็นปะการ์ดลายเซ็นอาริขายอยู่ 3,000 เหรียญอาริไคสะลายเซ็น 3,000 เหรียญกล่องนี้380 ยูโร10 เท่าอ่ะคืออันเนี้ยมันจะมี5 ใบหนึ่งจะมีลายเซ็นซึ่งแบบแม่งคลั่งมากอ่ะใบลายเซ็นอ่ะคือถ้าเกิดคุณได้ลายเซ็นเฟเกอร์ก็คือยิ่งแบบบึ้มแล้วอดห้ามที่อยู่ซ้ำเขาไม่รับแล้วเดี๋ยวพี่รู้แล้วพี่ต้องถามใครพี่บิ๊กอยู่ไต้หวันปะวะไอเชียใกล้สุดคือสิงคโปร์เชียนอร์เวย์ว่ะ 7-9 วันไอ้มือเหมือนมาไทยวันไหนนะเชียแต่ให้ไอ้มือเอามาให้มันจะเวิร์กปะวะแต่ว่าปัญหาคือมันยังไม่ทันได้เลยมันน่าจะยากมากอะน่าจะแบบยากโคตรนึกไม่ออกเลยจะไปสู้ได้ยังไงนอกจากดวงอย่างเดียวมาผมเกมที่2ฮะมี J4 อยู่
Poppy still going to be banned. I think Bard still going to be banned, and Bard is going to be indeed.
แชทมันหายากจริงมันมีจำนวนจำกัดครับมันไม่ได้ขายแบบว่าอันนี้แม่งแรงจริงแม่งโคตรจะแรงแบบ
the rise stocks are what are really starting to rise, especially rise. Oh, I'm sorry about that. The Casio ban coming on through.
ฝากไอโชว์สปีดได้ไหมครับทำงานอะไรออดมีความสุขไหมพี่
I agree. I think that
เดี๋ยว
you're going to see that Bard, you're going to see that Nocturne. Like I said, the third ban is a little bit more flexible here. Because you have first pick, T1 might ban the Rise themselves in that third spot. They take the Jace away. I'm surprised to see that.
No, I like it because the Olaf has already been taken, right? So now the Jace feels a whole lot more free.
Maybe Doran is not interested in playing Yorick right now, especially not playing it early in the draft and messing up the bottom lane. That's another part of this is, you know, T1 have been drafting most of the time through their bottom duo. Didn't happen in game one. They'll ban the Lucian again. So not going to be that bottom duo, but with no Nocturne, I think Lulu probably pretty low stocks here as well in this one, but we will have to wait and see. I imagine this is going to be a Rise ban for T1.
I would hope so. Otherwise, I feel like that should be the first pick here for D+, unless they have a different idea. And it's CVMax. He often has a different idea. But the Syndra is going to be the choice.
That's very Showmaker flavored.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like that Rise first pick is getting better and better.
Showmaker's like, just checking that's real. We're not really getting draft. It is Showmaker, so I understand the respect given with this Syndra ban, but I do think the Rise was a better choice. Instead, they're going to look for the Ezreal.
เอาว่ะส่งไปบ้าน10,000ได้ว่ะแต่10,000มามกรานู่นน่ะไอ้เชี่ยกว่าจะได้เปิดมกราแต่ว่าโอเครอได้ถ้าเราได้เรารอได้ไอ้เชี่ยแต่ถ้าเกิดได้จริงแม่งไม่รู้จะรอได้เปล่าและเอสเรียลไม่ได้เนาะเอสเรียลเป็นของ
That was it.
I lost my voice into Gen G there. The Rise will go over as a result, though. And the other thing is that it's fake.
รอจนยม
Yeah, he's pretty good at this one.
Not in the pros column for D+, I would say.
ซื้อแล้วลงที่ไลออดสิงคโปร์ที่ไลออดกูอยู่แล้วอุ้ยไม่เอาไม่กล้าเลยอุ้ยเดี๋ยวนะเชวาน่าบอกเลยว่าปู่เล่นไอ้หัวโล้นจริงปู่เล่นหัวโล้นจริงแต่แพนดิออนไปเจอแพนดิออนลงเอสเรียลนะ
They get Rise brave enough to do it, and you got Ezreal.
You did.
And now Luce is going to give the return hover.
There you go.
And then pick Jarvan probably, but we'll see. Lee Sin also available.
I like the Lee Sin option. It looks like maybe like I don't know whether Lee Sin Talia feels that good.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mid.
พี่ขอที่อยู่ไอ้หมื่นส่งอะไรมาหรือปะไอ้หมื่นแม่งส่งภาพจานดาวเทียมมาคือมึง
You know that much.
Well, this is the thing. We saw this picked yesterday, and it wasn't actually able to be played through. And it was largely because on the other side of the rift, there was a Caitlyn Bard situation. This was game one, KMDRX versus BNK Fearex. And it didn't work, but we'll see whether D+ can play to it a little bit better than what we saw yesterday.
Is Carrier... Okay, we had Carrier on camera. I was like, is he pulling something out weird here as a counter pick for the second phase? I don't think so. The Doran's most played champion of the tournament in Ambessa.
And now they get to protect both of these picks with a ban each, or they could go all in to protecting one of them.
I'm starting to wonder though, you know, what is Showmaker going to play here?
และป้าเอมเบซ่าอย่างน้อยพี่ดาวถูก2ตัววะโหเจอคาม่าเอสเรียลเอาอีกแล้วว่าทีวันปล่อยเลนล่างแม่งโดนเคาน์เตอร์พิกอีกแล้วอะแล้วเป็นคาม่าเอสเรียลด้วยอะแบบเลนล่างแม่งเหนื่อยมากแบนลูเซียนมาแล้วเฟส2ไงก็โดนแบนลูลูเลยครับตรงนี้น่าจะแบนลูลูราคานคิดว่าตรงเนี้ยน่าจะลูลูราคาน
You need something that's powerful, something that can control the
lane.
He's gonna play Talia. He's gonna play Talia. That's what I have in my brain.
แต่ก็มีเซราฟีนอีกนี่ว่ะคนแบนนอตว่ะเขามั่นใจว่าแบบสู้ได้แน่นอนมี J4 ช่วย
which is one of the only lanes that can kind of you know fight its way out I think of what's left available here. Maybe they ban Nautilus and Lulu.
ทำไมช่วงนี้ไม่เห็นเคเลียเล่นนิโกะเลยมันต้องการซับที่เดินเกมได้ครับนิโกะมันเดินได้จริงแต่มันเดินไปหนึ่งแต่ก็แค่ล็อกขาแล้วก็จบแล้วแต่ว่าถ้าซับที่เดินเกมตอนนี้ที่มันคล่องแล้วมันแบบคือมันดีมากๆก็คือจะเป็นพวกแบบเชนกับคามิวอะที่มันทำดาเมจแบบมันทอนได้มันแฟดทอนได้แล้วมันทำดาเมจได้ครึ่งหลอดเขาอยากได้ซับแบบนั้นมากกว่าส่วนซับแบบที่พูดมาเมื่อกี้ก็คือในแง่ของการโป๊กสู้คาม่าไม่ได้แต่ที่มันเคยดีมากๆมันคือแบบเล่นกับพวกคอกี้อะเป็นแบบว่าคอกี้นีโกะอะไรเงี้ยมันก็จะแจ่มเลย
I wouldn't mind the Caitlyn ban actually, but Yunara gonna be taken away
ได้ยูนา
instead.
ร่าว่ะตรงนี้มี
Not
ลูลู
even
กับ
gonna
แต่
worry
ลู
about
ลู
the
เจอ
whole
กับโป๊ก
angle.
นี่มันจะไหวเหรอวะ
Just
ต้องเซ
gonna
รา
ban
ฟีน
that
แหละ
Yunara
พี่ว่า
away. Now we're gonna reveal
แต่เซราฟีน
half
แอด
of
เจอ
T1
J4 ก็เล่นลำบากอีก
But I once beat this very team playing a lot of Zeri. I don't think he's gonna play
Zeri Yumi?
Zeri Lulu?
แต่เซริยูมิดีนะ
Lucian Nami?
Oh god, no.
Lucian's banned, and they already picked Ezreal, but Valdez is safe. However, I don't think that's necessarily going to see.
น่าต้องอู้
I
เค
think
ท
they
ลิ
should
น
have
นะ
banned Caitlyn here.
I mean, Caitlyn
It's
Lux.
Keria. Like,
Caitlyn Lux feels
Luck.
pretty good.
it's Keria. They have point and click CC with the Pantheon to set bindings.
And they don't even need to set up bindings. It's Keria. He just hits him.
That's
He's
true.
ridiculous. But let's see what D Plus are going to have as the answer.
Vayne feels pretty good, but you don't have great.
น่าจะรัก
You
ครับ
only have the Jarvan. If you want to just play Vayne into this, it's risky. You could pick Gnar if
Vayne
you're confident
Victor?
into
แบง
it.
ก์กันก็อาริสตา
Ooh, the Aatrox actually goes pretty hard. I kind of like that pick the most. I didn't really
ว้าว
have it in mind,
เอทรอก
but it's a pick that allows you to brawl with this, Karma setup. I like this pick a lot here in this draft.
I'm kind of into it, especially with the fact that you have the Karma there as well to speed him
Yeah.
up, get him into
เฮ้ย
position.
ไม่แน่นะถ้าเกิดเป็นทวิตเตอร์เฟซนี่เหมาะกันหน้าดี
does
นะ
like the Anivia matchup into the Rise, but I personally like the Twisted Fate. Allows you
Twisted
to
Fate follows
play
the globals.
to the globals exactly right.
And
แต่ว่า
it gives you
ทวิตเตอ
the
ร์เฟซ
ability to
ลงไป
have
เจอ
one more
คัพ
piece of
เค้ก
the
ก็
game in the draft
ลำบาก
that's
อยู่
running a Karma. I think that D Plus really fixed this draft. Like, I didn't think they were necessarily going to be able to figure it out once that Talia was banned, but they were able to do it. And I shouldn't have been surprised because it's Showmaker, one of the most iconic Twisted Fate players of all time. I don't think Caitlyn needs to shoot more far, but
บอกกันน่ารัก
You do
Milio
shoot ridiculously far. That's kind of good, but you also have the ultimate. So
โอ้ย
when
Milio มัน
Showmaker does show up and
รัก
throws
ครับ
out the gold card, there's an option, but
เอาเลน
instead
ดีกว่า
Keria is going to provide
And
the
you can
fans
tell
what they
yeah,
want.
that's what the crowd wanted.
Oh yeah.
That's what we wanted. That's what we expected. As the draft comes together, I think with T1, they made all the
ไอ้เหี้ยพี่บอกเหมือนว่าไอ้หมื่นแกขับรถเฮ้ยแกค่อยคุยสิไว้เกินถ้าค่าขับรถอยู่ไอ้หมื่นบอกจอดแล้วไม่ได้แกสำคัญสุด
because they're less meta, they're less common. But with these players and
ที่
their
อยู่สั้น
mastery
มาก
on them, it makes perfect sense. And D Plus, I think not
ที่
only
อยู่
ended up getting a
ของ
really
นอ
nice
ร์เวย์
draft
แม่ง
here,
สั้น
but the
มาก
draft
เลยอะ
works incredibly well for these 5 players. I mean, Smash on Ezreal, Career's Karma has been very good.
ที่อยู่ของนอร์เวย์แม่งแบบประมาณว่าแบบ
but it's a tough one for
บางละมาดตลิ่งชัน
them
อะ
now. So many resources in that Karma and still walked into the Caitlyn Lux.
And
See if
this
they
is,
can win it anyways.
this is the thing that's really interesting to me. Like, I just hope
มี
that
เอา
we're
เกม
glued
3
to
หรือ
the
เปล่า
bottom lane for like the first 10 minutes. Because I
เอา
think
จริง
that is
ท่านโด
going to
นี่
show
คือ
so
ส
much
กิน
about how this
เอม
game
เบ
is
ซ่า
going to go. Because
เวอ
D
ร์นะครับ
Plus put so much into the bottom lane winning. And Caitlyn Lux really does struggle to lose in the early stages of the game. And I feel like Ezreal Karma are really going to have to play perfectly in order to make this one work. And I find that weird to say, right? Because it's such a powerful lane.
You thought you had the free win. And, and Paze and Keria said no.
And the way Paze and Keria play this is just so incredibly oppressive as well. So I cannot wait to see what is going to happen there towards the bottom side of the map. Let's get onto the Rift for game number 2.
ชี้โอกาสที่ได้กล่อง1 ใน 1,000แต่ถ้าเกิดซื้อกับคนนั้นเลย 60,000 บาทไอ้เชี่ย 60,000 อะไอ้เชี่ย 60,000 เลยอะพระเจ้า
Right. T1
60,000 บาท
fans definitely a lot louder. But
ถ้าได้ลายเซ็นเฟเกอร์ก็ทะยานโลกเลยทีนี้
And so we'll just have to
60,000
see
คือได้แน่นอน
whether D Plus can
แต่ไม่รู้เขา
do
ทำไง
what
นะ
they did in France, right? They did this. It was a pretty blue
แต่มัน
crowd.
คลั่งเกินไปว่ะพี่ว่า
Showmaker is going to gold
ลอง
card
ไป
the
ลุ้น
heck
เผื่อ
out of
ได้แล้วกั
that
น
melee minion. And he absolutely did. Nicely done. Korea avoids the first loosened singularity. That is maybe something here.
See what they can do with this lane. Obviously, every single Montreal Q needs to have high value. That is the name of the game for this lane. Smash will get hit by this one.
Oh, man. Making peace with it, I think, as Paze does get at least tagged by that Mystic shot, but still.
So Smash has to take, in this matchup, Cleanse because of the bindings.
And because of the Pantheon as well.
Pantheon, and you are laning into Caitlyn, who has a barrier. So, Caitlyn's not really worried about Karma's minuscule CC. So as a result, this matchup actually also gets a little bit weird here for Smash and Career, who again drafted this thinking they win by default. So they'll even have to use a heal to avoid that binding.
Yeah, at least they are able to punish a little bit, but the Snap Trap in position, Smash able to collect that minion. And FaZe still with a pretty big advantage as he stacks this wave up.
นี่จะกินตัวเองตลอดเลยเนาะ
This stage, both of them taking grasp in this particular matchup. Seen a lot of the Electrocute Ambessa more recently, but not in a matchup like this. As Binding going to connect. There is a great Peacemaker as Korea takes a lot of damage.
อยากให้ว่านมาดูเคเลียเล่นจริง
Korea does throw that one out. At least D Plus is still alive. The problem is, I don't know whether that's the state of the lane that you want when it's Ezreal Karma, right? I feel like you are wanting to have that pressure.
I think there's
Korea
still,
hasn't lost on this champion. What?
Yeah, there's still a lot of power outside of this lane for Smash, right? He's going to be at his strongest when
สู้ใน LCK สักวันมันต้องให้ว่านเล่นให้เป็นก่อนนะเมื่อวานว่านแบบสนุกกับแอล
So
อะ
we'll see if he can
แต่พี่คิดว่าเล่นสนุกกับแอลนะจริงๆอะเล่นกับเพื่อนสนุกเลย
Doesn't have prio, but he's even in farm practically. As Lucid's coming for a gank here on the Faker.
Yeah, there's the gold card, and Showmaker throws out those wild cards as well. Faker in a bit of trouble, but does have the ghost. And Lucid, I mean, a flash flag and drag might do it, but Faker's running real
ว้า
fast.
วแล้วเฟเกอร์รอดมาได้ครับ
You know, I was talking about the Ari pick for potential to
เสีย
set
แค่
up
โกดด้วยเหลือจะเชื่อไม่มีใครแฟด
fine picks,
ตะ
but
กี้
this Twisted
แต่
Fate
โชว์เมเกอร์
ends
ไม่
up
กล้า
doing
แฟด
it
เพราะว่า
just so
เดี๋ยวกลัว
much
แบบแฟด
easier,
แล้วแบบ
as you
มัน
can't
เฟ
really
เกอร์ก็
miss
แฟด
the
เหมือนกัน
gold
แล้วโดน
card.
ตันไปปลายแล้วก็
Faker's gonna hold his ground
กลายเป็นว่า
though, take enough
โดน
damage
โอเนอ
to
ร์เข้าอีก
get
เพราะ
it
โอเนอร์
back.
เล่นไซด์ล่าง
So
รู้อยู่แล้ว
feel good about that 'cause he doesn't have TP since he
เฟ
went
เกอร์
to
เลือก
Ghost
เดินมา
Mode
ข้างล่าง
and
เมื่อ
tried to
กี้คือ
extend
ฉลาด
it.
มาก
And we are seeing a potential follow-up here from Lucid.
Yeah, maybe a wrap-around, but you can see Faker
เว
still
ลา
has
ปู่เล่น
flash,
ตัวเนี้ยที่ไร
has
ปู่ชอบ
shield.
แบบว่า
Goodness. This is
โอ้
getting
กูว่าอะไรเหี้ย
He just drops a flag on
กู
it.
ว่าแล้ว
That was what I was kind of alluding to. If Faker did not respect, he decided, I'm going to stay, I'm going to greed, I don't have TP, and he pays for it. He still doesn't have TP, though. And
ไม่
he's
ทัน
not
ขัด
like
คำ
what
เลยอะ
happens next. He finds himself 300 gold behind. Twisted Fate prints money, and this is going to be a potential strong point here for D Plus moving to the mid game. As look, he TPs back in.
แกชอบแบบเลือดน้อยๆแล้วแบบ
Faker
ท
will be able to get back to the lane
ำ
pretty
อ่อย
quickly
ๆน้อยๆ
here,
อ่ะ
though.
ยั่วๆ
So
บ
it's
น
not
ๆอ่ะ
like the old days where if you die like that, you just lose the game.
ได้2แฟดอ่ะแต่ก็ถือว่าคุ้มแล้วนะ
Still feeling much better if you are Showmaker right now.
Absolutely.
So he's just lurking here, and Faker thinks he's positioned safely enough, but Showmaker just flash gold cards him.
โอเคแต่ว่ามันก็อันนี้ unfortunately จริงคือมันแบบ
Beautifully
แม่ง
played
คือ
here by
กู
D
อยู่
Plus.
คาป้อมแล้ว
And you'd expect that from the man who
วันนี้
has
แม่นเกินหยุด
full
พูดได้ไหม
skin
ครับ
on his Twisted Fate.
Got those Damwon logos flying around.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Damwon logos. As Faker with this wave in a pretty awkward spot for Showmaker.
คิวแบบว่าแม่นๆอยู่นะ
Showmaker without his flash does have to play respectfully. And
เดี๋ยวนะ
Faker having not
Showmaker
used
ก็
it,
สกิน
even
ตัวเอง
though he
ว่า
just
ใช่
got
ปะ
first blood, does mean that he, for some reason, has control of this lane. Feels a little bit counterintuitive, but does make a lot of sense when you think about the summoner spells.
Yeah.
ทำไมพี่ไม่ตัว
And the
ฟ้า
fact
วัน
that
นี้
there's a
อ๋อ yes โอ้โหมีแต่สกินเวอร์ว่ะ
side of the map.
มีท่านเนี้ยท่านเดียวที่แบบสกินอะไรก็เขาก็ไม่ใช้
Yeah, but like you say, it's still an issue. And once he has level 6, that's when things get a lot tougher here for D+.
Level 6 is being hit across the board. Showmaker with that Destiny Gate now up and available. We'll see whether the first one is going to be successful. This is the problem.
กาลิโอ
They have
เป็น
one
ทรง
global,
ยังไงก็คือ
and
ทรง
the
อย่างนั้
bad
น
guys have two, right? And so if you're a D+ fan, I think it's going to be how well Showmaker uses this in order to guarantee a very fast kill before the rest of the cavalry
บ้านจน
T1
เปล่า
arrive.
ไม่มีตังค์ซื้อสกินน่าจะใช่ครับ
Smash,
เฟเกอร์
you
น่า
know,
จะ
obviously
จน
going for a different build path.
ไม่มี
This
ตั
is
งค์ซื้อส
Ezreal,
กิน
but has a little bit of extra combat power here with these long swords in his inventory, and they've turned this lane around a little bit. So getting back a lot of control here. FaZe has the Greaves, so it makes it a little bit easier for him to dodge these, but he's not dodging them.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. As now you got a Jarvan here to deal with on this bottom side.
Yeah, they expect the Pantheon to come down. He's playing defensively rather than looking for an aggressive play. He's down flash as well. It's going to turn to a bit of a scuttle contest here. Even though Showmaker doesn't have prio, he does have that ultimate you mentioned, so if we have an extended fight here, it's going to be a close one. And Owner goes in first.
Yep, should be the 2v2 as they look for Faker.
Faker
Gold card
me
comes
fat
out
you.
once again, but Lucy's in a bit of trouble. The flash gets Faker away, and now
Wow.
Lucy's going to be taking down Faker. Grabs the kill. Carry
เอาว่ะ Owner ว่ะ
for a walk and will save
โชว์น้อง
Showmaker
โชว์
with
น้
it,
อง
but
นี่
that
เล่น
is
โชว์
still
โชว์น้อง
a
เพนเตอ
big
ร์
win for T1.
แต่
And
เพน
it's
เตอ
the
ร์แบบ
flash
แม่ง
advantage you talked about
คือพี่
earlier.
ไม่ค่อยเห็นเพนเตอร์
That's the
แบบ
big
ใช้
difference
คิว
maker.
พลาดเลย
The whole time I'm
คือ
watching
คิว
that
ของ
fight,
เพ
I'm
นเตอร์
just
แต่ละ
thinking,
ครั้งคือแม่งแบบ
but Faker has
ดาเมจแม่งแบบ
flash,
สุ
so what
ด
do you
ๆ
do?
จริง
They spent so much resources
ๆแต่
trying
กี้
to
โอ
kill
เนอร์เหมือน
this
คิวพลาดไป
rise.
ทีนึง
So many resources are expended, but he just flashes the wall, and the fight is lost for D+ in that instant, as it's a fast rotation up from Keria, and the kill does go over to Faker himself over the wall. So initially here, it's like, okay, I'm trying to set up this play where Owner used his stun, and now we turn on the Faker, and Owner can't peel for a second. But Faker has flash, gets over the wall. Owner just holds his shield up.
อันนั้นคิวพลาด
Can't
นิดนึ
punish
งแต่ว่าแหม
Owner in this situation when Faker flashes over the wall because he's got Aegis.
Yeah.
And I think T1 just calculated this way better.
And it's the thing. It's the fact that that flash wasn't on cooldown as Korea taking a full
เอา
combo.
ไว้
Oh my
คอมโบแต่ว่าไม่
Just raining from the
ไม่ได้
sky.
ซูมอะซูมได้
And
ตายแต่ว่ามัน
Korea does have to
สแมท
go
รับอยู่
on
แล้ว
and at least have the heal to keep
ก็เลยเก็บ
himself
ไว้ด้วย
alive. But Hayes actually taking a lot of damage. True shot barrage.
อุ้ย
It's not quite the same as the
โอ้โห
EWC
แล้ว
one
เคเลีย
there
มา
from
โยน
Smash,
ตรง
but
นี้ให้
Hayes still taking a lot of damage here in this lane.
Smash.
Showmaker
Did
มา
that so well. Made it look like he was going to go for the minion auto there, or the minion Q rather, and he goes for the damage.
It kind of blows my mind.
ใช่
that,
ใช่
like,
Faker
if you think about it, Smash and Ezreal are
มันเป็น
like
มีม
almost
เฉย
the
ๆแต่
same
มันชัด
age.
มันจะเป็นมีแบบว่า
Uh,
เฟกเกอร์
and
แบบ
he's just
ไม่มีเงิน
so
ซื้อ
good
แต่
at
จริงไม่ใช่
piloting
มัน
his
เป็นมีมเฉ
champion.
ย
I don't even know how
Not-
old
not
Ezreal is,
quite.
but he
No.
seems Smash age.
Well, he
based on
was
his voice
out
line.
in the release of League of Legends. That was what I was going for.
Oh,
think-
okay. I thought you just
think
meant the
Smash
character's
is a little bit older than that, but only a little bit.
Only a little bit.
เพนเตอร์แชมป์
T1
เมน
with
แช
a
มป์ตัวไหน
slight gold lead, and that is a
เปิดให้
big
ดู
deal
ให้
against the Twisted Fate.
I guess you could say the same thing about Paze and Caitlyn, though, right?
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
Paze
วั
getting
น
a
นี้ต้อง
little
ไป
bit
วันนี้
older
ต้อง
now.
ต้องไป
But still
นั่น
quite
แล้วว่า ต้องไป
Both of these AD carries in the very early days of their careers.
Which is kind
ต้อ
of
งไป
crazy.
บนบานศาลเก่าแล้ว
The fact that Paze is already
เพื่อให้ได้กล่อง
very
T1 ว่ะ
decorated. He still has one of
โอ
the
เค
most
ตัวนี้จริง
ridiculous
ๆแล้วไม่ต้อง
records in international
เพ
League
น
of
เตอร์
Legends with the most kills in a single game.
เพนเตอร์
And
จะ
the most
เป็น
pentakills
ลี
of all
ซิน
time, which is just ludicrous.
ลีซิน J4
He's-
แพนดิออน
He's that guy.
He
แกก็เล่น
is.
คุยยาน่าอยู่นะ
We are going to have a bit of a gank up here top side. Shiu has flash and his ultimate, but won't do him too much good if he gets hit by the binding first. Keria has flash if he wants to try to employ it. Doesn't need to, though. And
เรีย
even
มอ
Rise
มาต
coming
รง
up.
นี้เอทรอป
Yeah, well, Ender coming on in
Go
here
for it,
from
Owner
Shiu
tรงนี้
as he does look to
ตาย
lock down Owner. That is
Pen
going to be
mid.
an easy kill there as Shiu looks to turn it, but it's not going to
Oh
quite
my
be enough.
God.
Paze able to lock him down as Showmaker does cause the 1
กู
for
ถามจริง
1. But he does have to use his Destiny Gate in order to get up here. Doran not in as much
ฮัลโหล
trouble.
พี่เจ
It's only Korea and Smash down here, but Lucid's going to show
พี่
up.
เจพี่ฝากเอา
Let's
มา
see
มา
whether
พี่แพน
this
ลงมา
dive
ข้าง
is
ล่างหน่อย
going to work.
กลางมา
This could
สีเขียว
get
กับ
D
สีชม
Plus
พู
into a good position. The ulti comes down, but it's not a great spot.
Okay.
Cataclysm comes in. Lucid looking for the kill, and he will find it. True
Oh
shot
my
barrage
God.
might have actually been enough.
เขาใช้
but
แฟ
Lucid
ดกัน
wanted
เย
to
อะ
make sure.
มากครับเลนล่างตะกี้สองแฟดครับผมเป็น J4 กับ Ezreal ครับ Oh my God ครับผมผมพยายามแล้วครับ
Play from Shiu there. He had so much gusto, I would say.
I love the word gusto. in
Yeah, I think that
reference
was
to moment.
absolutely a gusto moment. Like, that's where gusto needs to be used. Where he flashes, gets the lifesteal there from his passive. So,
ตัวนี้
Shiu
จ
here,
ริงๆ Owner
I
มี
mentioned
แฟด
if
มัน
they
ควร
lock
จะ
him
แบบ
down
ว่า
with the binding first, he doesn't actually have any outplay. It's Owner goes in first,
Oh,
but he's
เพราะว่า
under
โดน
turret,
ไอ้นี่
and
พอดี
then Shiu flashes here and almost two
Showmaker
shots
play
Keria.
ดี
The Showmaker shows
แกโด
up,
น
turret's
โฟกัส
ramping.
แล้วแบบ
That doesn't
ไม่
make
ไหว
a mistake. It looks like intentional the way this was set up here by Lucid to make sure they could block the angle onto Career, because Career's got the turret aggro. If he gets hit by that ult,
Yeah.
then he just goes down there. Obviously, it would have hit him anyways, but the way that Lucid set it up made it kind of awkward to hit it for Doran, so he's not able to outplay.
ตอนนี้ปัญหาของ T1 คือ
does require Lucid's follow flash to get the kill.
เราไม่อยู่ใน
however,
เลนของเราเว้ยตอนเนี้ย
as you pointed out. So will be 1,000 gold to lead here for
สลับออกมา
D+. Kind of winning on
เล่น
both
กลับ
sides of the map here in a small way. Could have been worse though if Keria also goes down on that top side dive.
The good thing about this for D Plus is the fact that Showmaker is going to have like a pre-20-minute
โดรันออกดาบตัดฮิวก่อน
which is not too bad. You can see Faker still just sitting on the catalyst, and Showmaker already completely done with that item, so going to give him a little bit of an advantage as far as tempo here in this game. And I think mid-game is going to be so important here for D Plus, because as the game goes on, we know what Paze can do on the Caitlyn. You get to like 4 and 5 items. I just don't think that D Plus are going to be able to contend in team fights against this guy and with Faker, who is just going to be dealing out so much damage once those 3 items do come in. As Owner in a little bit of trouble here. Gold card blocked from Showmaker, looking to try and get on over here towards the Pantheon. We'll be able to find the angle. Wildcards to chase out Faker as there's the flash away from the Cataclysm, but he follows with the flag and drag, and they take out Owner.
Wow, that was a very, very thin margin.
Yeah,
I think that Lucid had to play through there on that catch onto the Pantheon. Baker's flash was also just coming back up. Didn't end up needing to use it. Wouldn't have helped out the play at all, but definitely something they were obviously considering when they decided to go for that. And
0-2 อีกแล้วว่า Owner
but also getting his flash. Lucid didn't have flash from the kill earlier and was still able to get the outplay over the Pantheon. And as a result, they were able to take the first dragon. It's a
จะเปลี่ยนตัวเลยเหรอเดี๋ยวก่อนมันความอดทนมันต่ำขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอคือ
It's also very cool that we get a Cloud Soul this game as well, because Earth, Wind, and Fire always happens at least once in a T1 series. And so that's going to be happening again.
ตอนนี้โดนหวาด
guarantee it.
หวาดในพวกนั้นโดนหวาดอันนั้นเซตอัพเล่นเพลย์นี้แม่งเลย
Not the fact that it's guaranteed. As this was just beautifully played by Lucid and Showmaker.
Yeah. Realm Warp here.
มาอีกแล้วแต่ว่า
Right. Shiyu gonna get dove on. The World Ender does come through, but it's a public execution. And it's beautifully
อันตี
done.
สวยมากครับโดรานจริงๆเมื่อกี้มันต้องแฟกกันแต่ว่าก็ secure ดีฮะ
Doesn't look like there's much of a cross map though.
Yeah, I mean, Keria is trying to come over and stop this turret from taking a bunch of damage. Career's zoning him away right now and preventing his back.
ได้ป้อมก่อนหรือเปล่าโดรานพยายามรีบลำหน่อย
It's a bit of a race here for first turret, but even with these essence fluxes, I think it should go the way.
ไม่ไหวครับเลนล่างเวลาตีป้อมจะช้ากว่าเลนบนเพราะว่ามีแชมเปี้ยน2ตัว
They will not get this first brick. Baker's going to come over to
เวลาเพจแตกแชมเปี้ยน2ตัวมัน
this
เกาะมันเย
aggressive
อะ
play from Lucid in the jungle.
Yeah, going very aggressive towards Owner right now, and Owner is in a lot of trouble. I don't think he's
ชิบ
going
หาย
to be
แล้ว
able
กู
to
ว่า
do
ได้เปลี่ยน
anything
ตัว
about
จริง
this.
นะ
Doran
เนี่ย
might be able to rotate down. He is trying to fight it. Showmaker's moving up though.
Zoom.
Ace in the hole, and Lucid is able
Oh.
to get the slam dunk down and take
น้อง
out
ช่วยหน่อย
the Pantheon. Still Pace is moving up and has Doran in tow. Lucid
มึง
can
ทำอะไร
get
เนี่ย
flag
มึง
drag out.
ทำ
The
ไม
answer
ต้อง
is
มาท
absolutely no.
ำ
And Doran is able to lock that one up. So a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
ไม่เป็นไรนะครับคุณโอเนอร์
Definitely having a tough time,
เดี๋ยว
but
ผ
I
ม
think
จะ
it's
บอก
still
โค้ดให้
fine
ครับ
to
ว่า
see.
ไม่เกี่ยวกับคุณโอเนอร์เลยนะครับ อันนี้ไม่เป็นเรื่องของคือการโดนแกงครับในปากครับคุณโอเนอร์ผมเข้าใจดีครับคุณโอเนอร์
Here, I mean, this is just so clean. They chase him away. He has to ult. And then watch this
โดราน
angle
น่ารัก
here.
ด้วยเมื่อกี้ก็
Baker
พูดออกมา
flashes forward as well, just to make sure they have the lockdown they need. And then here, this is the attempt, but Showmaker doesn't have ult. If Showmaker has ult here, then he can just come on top of Owner and blow him up here with that ultimate. Instead, it's Paze who's actually able to impact the play first with this ultimate. And yes, with the Cataclysm damage coming through, he still bursts Owner
นิดเดียว
down.
จริง
But Showmaker awkwardly flashes here, and then Doran shows up, and yeah, that was not the play they were looking for, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was almost, Lucid making the great escape, getting over the wall, getting himself out, but not quite able to do so. Now Doran does have the Eclipse built up.
ต้อง2-0น่ะจริงๆแต่ว่า2-0เนี่ยพี่ว่ามีรอยหยักกับ T1 อีกแล้ว
So they're feeling better in this matchup, and especially now with that kill, the assist moves to about a
เวลาแบบ
900 gold
มี
lead.
ตัวสำรองนั่งอยู่แบบเนี้ยมันจะโดนโฟกัสเป็นพิเศษอ่ะ
I feel like Shio's going to be pretty happy though in this
แล้วคนที่
game.
เล่นแม่งก็กดดัน
Wants to
ชี้
be
เป่ง
in the thick of things in these team fights coming up, and him and Lucid really are going to be the bash bros here in this game.
Let's see if Career can control Prio in mid right now and push this Caitlyn out of the lane so that Lucid has a little
ขอ
bit more
เสียงเพน
agency
เตอร์
to
ให้
flash
กำลังใจ
back
โอ
up.
เนอร์ข้ามสนาม
I
หน่อ
think
ย
that's one of the angles they have here to, to
ไม่เป็นไรนะพี่
a little bit of
สบายไปพี่
start whittling away this turret.
เดี๋ยวพี่ฟาร์มบนเลยพี่โอเนอร์เนี่ยฟาร์มบูพี่เดี๋ยวพี่ไปตรงกบต่อ
At least at
ส
the
บายพี่
initial part of this exchange, start to get the advantage there in that mid lane. Showmaker's
แม่ง
ult
ชอบ
coming
มา
back up
ก
is very far
ชอบเสีย
away.
งเพนเตอร์มันเด็ก
Yeah,
ช่าง
not
มาก
quite going to be enough. Does have level 2 in the Destiny Gate, but not quite finding too much more than that. So 5 levels in his Rod of Ages as well. Faker only on 1.
ขอเสียงอะไรกันเยอะแยะไอ้บ้าเอ้ย
Later, 725 the gold lead, but the biggest lead in the game is Lucid right now on this Jarvan. Let's see what he can make of it as we hit this mid game and hit those power spikes that we were talking about for D+. I think so much needs to happen in the next
มี
10
สัญญาอยู่
minutes for this red side
Yes.
team in order to get a big advantage moving into the later stages of the game.
They also just dropped control over the Herald as well over to T1. I think this was the step 1 of how to get that done in the first 10 minutes, and now they're zoned out by Caitlyn traps.
เขา
Yeah,
And we
May's
might
gonna
see a
find
late
that
contest.
headshot. Yeah, that
May
late
ค่อยเวิร์กว่า
contest
เปิ
is
ดไฟ
coming in.
เหรอ
The Destiny has been popped. That gives
รอ
them
รีเซ็ตแล้วรอ
full
ได้
information
รอรี
as
เซ็ต
to
ได้
what's happening here. Lucid picks up the Rift Herald, but let's walk past.
เสียอันติ
And
ไปแล้ว
T1 will just back
Showmaker
away. Flag for information. And Showmaker still just trying to hold on to this bottom outer turret.
Yeah, he dropped his
Faker
ult down
เลือ
as
ดโล
well for
ไม่
more
ค่อยดีเลย
information too on that play, and I think that was part of why T1 decided, you know what, I just don't like this. They know
สรุปแอลมัน
everything.
ฉีกสัญญาไม่ได้หรอฉีกได้แต่ว่าเขาไม่ค่อยมี
It's
ใคร
a really
ทำมันแพ
risky
ง
fight because the Aatrox had that top side prio to come in faster.
เขามีแต่แบบเทรดตัวกัน
And ultimately, D+, they played a pretty fine line with letting that Herald prio go for the backs, but they did end up getting back control. Securing the Herald, though,
ทำไมถึง
still
มาเล่
have
นลัก
not
ซับ
been
ก็
able
โดน
to
แบน
do just yet.
ตัว
They
อื่น
will clear this wave. And,
ถ้าดีสุด
in fact,
จากกับ
not
เค
gonna
ทลิน
go
ก็จะเป็น
for it
เคท
right
ลิน
now.
บาท
Shoemaker's
แต่
gonna
บาท
TP
โดนแบนอยู่แล้ว เพ
bottom
ราะเป็น
side,
เค
and
เลีย
Harold lives to sit in the Baron pit of another day.
Yep.
แล้วก็
Yeah, that is
ตัว
a lot
ที่
of damage
เลน
on the
สู้
career, but
เอสเบียลคามาไม่มีเยอะด้วย
Quite going to be able to finish him off or
มี
anything like
นิด
that.
เดียวอะ
With this wave that does move in.
Mikhail's first for carry. It means he doesn't have Shirelli as well, whereas Career does. So that's actually really valuable in terms of what they can do in a snap fight.
Showmaker finding a fair bit of damage here on to Doran, but now she was in a little bit
โอ้
of
แต่ว่าเลือด
trouble.
มันเยอะดิ ไม่มี
1v2
แต่ฮิวอะ
versus Faker and Ona, but that Sundered
ไม่ได้
Sky plus being Aatrox is going to get him so much healing. And
แต่ได้
without
ตี
the
Aatrox
there, without that
เวนเดอร์
execution
พี่ว่าไม่แย่
scoring,
ก็เอาเปิด
this
ได้ป่ะ
Aatrox is at full power.
Showmaker doing a lot of damage. Like
แย่แล้วว่าตอนนี้
pushes
ทีวันแย่มาก
Doran
เรา
out
เล
of
น
the
กลาง
bottom
กับ
lane,
ป่า
gets
ตอนนั้น
that turret. They're pushed out of the mid lane.
Oh
as well,
my
Mazes,
God,
because
Deepกันแบบ
Carrier went up to try to final spark on that attempt on the Shield, which failed in a 2v1. And D+ gets so much map control everywhere as a result of it. They're winning top side, they're winning mid, and they're winning bottom side. So now they're going to be able to get that Herald without even a team fight here. This is exactly what they're hoping for. With all the damage that Smash is putting onto this turret with the help of Career's Mantra Qs and the wave push here, they should be able to actually get the turret. See if they want to do that, though, or would they rather use a Combat Herald on Dragon? The choice is theirs as second Dragon here has spawned.
Oh, Pays walking up.
เฟเกอร์6 นาที
Pretty
ครับ
dangerous into this Ezreal, but doesn't quite have 2 items just yet.
เสี
Probably
ยลิฟต์ให้
sitting
กับ
on the gold
DK เรียบร้อย
board as T1 now getting into position to fight for this second Drake of the game. D+ claiming the first one, and if they even out the Drakes with the late first Dragon pickup, I don't think we're going to be seeing a Soul, maybe never in this game, but also not for a while.
Okay, that's...
Yeah, Destiny Gate to come on through here as Pays does get himself out of the way. Carry on with the heal for the movement speed.
That binding doesn't hit, and they just didn't like it. They did not like it. They backed away with Showmaker having
ยกคณะอันติไม่มีว่ะแพเดียไม่มีอันติ
It's way too much control that D+ are holding right there. They decide to leave, which is the correct call. Faker is 5 minutes behind on the
โอเค
clock.
ไอมาละ
See, he's down a level on this top laner, has his role quest completed. And so as a result, he's just not really... He's clearing the waves,
มาครับผม
under kill pressure, for example, but
ได้
he
แล้วครับ
can't really
IE
control that
PS
side of the map very well. As she was
พร้อม
just
กับ
having a great game.
Yeah.
On this
สโคป
Aatrox. He's 0-2 because he was the focus of many of the dives from T1 in this game, but it allowed the Ezreal on the bottom side to kind of freely have control. And this Caitlyn, who won lane technically early on, isn't necessarily really at the point she'd like to be at. 300 gold lead, has second item IE, but this is the scary part of the game for the Caitlyn. When you know, you have two Sundered
scaling
Sky.
Oh, Ox, man.
It is what it is.
It was my Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's all right.
It's not a good omen for T1 if it's not the Cloud Soul here.
I mean, Chemtech Soul on
เก
an
มเทค
Aatrox.
อุ้ย
That's
เทค
what I'm
แชม
scared
เทค
of.
ถ้าเกิด
Not
ที
to
วันได้
mention
ดี
the
มาก
fact
เลยเนี่ย
that this Karma will
และ
be
เอ
all
ท็อป
buffed
ได้ไปก็
up
ดี
by that one. I think it's kind of cool.
คามายิ่งชอบเลย
Chemtech angle. But we'll just have to see whether we actually get to it, as it is still relatively late. 4.5 minutes until that soul point would be available.
There's so much damage at this moment for D+. Like, they're at their strongest right now. 2 item spike on the Ezreal.
จังเกิลนี่เงิน
About
ห่าง
to
กัน
have 2 items
1,300
on Aatrox. The Sundered Sky double here for brawling in team fights. They want to fight wherever they can all the time. And I think with Showmaker having this lead, he's going to be the one who wants to set up. They're going to start pinching sides. They're going to start playing through, okay, Faker thinks he get this free farm. I don't think so. That's not allowed anymore. They're going to try to punish Doran if he's trying to push up too far on the wrong side of the map. They're on the top side right now, and T1 are scrambling to try to defend against a potential gank onto Faker.
Yeah, Showmaker in a bit of trouble, though, as Faker and Ona are looking for him, but he does just walk it off. Lucid making his way in. Showmaker very, very low as the Realm Warp looking to try and deny. Gold card in hand. Lucid in a lot of trouble as well. The members of T1 are just everywhere as Lucid's able to escape. Showmaker taking a long time to die, but ladies and gentlemen, he will. And down he will go. But in the meantime, she was taking the bottom out of turret. We've got Smash in mid, and now T1
แต่โดนเอสเซลคามาโปกไหมอ่ะ เฟเกอร์ต้องรีบมาเฟเกอร์ด้านบน
I mean, Career is coming over. There's a trap wall set already.
โดนเจ็บ
Smash
อยู่
is going to be able to walk his way through.
Public execution is a little private this time around for Doran, as Ona taking so much damage from this Baron.
ไม่ได้ละวาลอนต้องถอยละ
We need Orcs to tell us which Baron it is. I don't think it's the Huni. I think it's Terry. I think it's Terry, and
Doran
Terry
ถอย
is
ก่อน
not scary.
โอ้ยป้อม
He's not scary.
ป้อมล่าง
Terry.
เฮี้ยมาก
I
เลย
haven't fully embraced the
Aatrox
Baron
เลย
Dragon yet, so I don't even know what that
No,
means.
neither
But,
have I. I just like the naming.
I think it's any Baron is scary enough right now to push
เสียเวลา
T1
ฆ่า
off
โชว์เมเกอร์นานไปหน่อย
in this case. So they do leave And I think D Plus actually went on the exchange, right? They had bottom turret, they got most of this inner.
แต่แบบเฟเกอร์ใช้แฟดบ่อยไม่ได้มันมี J4 อ่ะ J4 แบบ
T1 got a kill onto Showmaker eventually, as well as a flash, I suppose. But that was the D Plus were better set up on the top side of the map, and they instantly make the call when these ults get dropped. Like, okay, we can't save this. Let's just push.
เพิ่งมาทำไมพี่กิฟซึมครับใครพลาดตรงไหนไม่ได้ซึมเกี่ยวกับเกมซึมลิบบาวมันโอกาสมันน้อยเกินอ่ะมันน้อยมากอ่ะ
Well, they exactly did the opposite of that, as well, except Lucid. He
โอกาสได้มันน้อยอ่ะ
but everybody else just did the opposite of that and played the map instead, which was the right choice. Baker does get a shutdown.
It's a lot of gold.
60,000 จบเลย
And he now has his Seraphs completed, looking
ไม่รู้โดน
towards
โกง
that
หรือเปล่า
actualizer, and that is when the rise gets extraordinarily scary. I
แล้ว
just
มัน
keep
แพงเกิน
thinking
อ่ะ
back
60,000
to Zeka versus Chovy yesterday. Zeka had such a good early lane, but it didn't matter. Chovy was Rise in the end and did about a quadrillion damage. Utilized Realm Warp incredibly effectively, and it led to pretty comfortable win for Gen G in the end. And Faker, I think he's got the brain to make these Realm Warps work.
I'm just going to use this Herald here to set up a dive, I think. And there's Pantheon ult available here, but he can't get access.
Yeah, you can see Doran gonna have to try and dash out of that Cataclysm, but Ona's just gonna make his
เฮ้ย
way
อ้าว
up.
ไปโดนโชว์เมเกอร์เฉย
Dive into Shelly as Doran gets knocked up as well. Lucid looking for an angle as they get on top of Ona. True shot barrage, but it's actually Lucid that grabs the kill onto the Pantheon. Doran left alive, but the turret is in ruins, and they've lost their jungler.
Not entirely sure what the objective for T1 was there, because I know the T1 motto, which is it's written right underneath the circus banner every time, is every fight is winnable. But they could have just let the turret go, and Doran might have been able to get away. And even if he
ถ้าเปรียบเทียบแพนเดออนจริงๆถ้าสมมติว่าแค่แพนเดออนนะคือยังไงน้องมันก็แบบดูแบบ
I thought you were gonna say
ดูเข้าโซนจริงนะแพนเดออน
That would have also kind of worked.
Yeah. Hashtag brotherhood.
แต่อันเนี้ยโอเนอร์แบบว่าทำตามแบบคือโดนร้านเปิดโอเนอร์เลยเข้าไปประคอง
Yeah, I'm still.
แล้วกลายเป็นโอเนอร์
that was
ตาย
a bit above me, I think. I think it's kind of like the whole 6-7 jargon. I'm just not quite there.
They were Ing, I guess. I mean, maybe being Ing means the winning worlds.
Maybe it's a reference to the Australian bank. We have an ING bank. Yeah. Is that an Australian one? I've only seen it in Australia.
I don't know, actually.
It might also be New Zealand.
คือยังไงก็ต้อง
I have no
ดิฟ
idea.
GA แน่นอนนะยังไงรู้สิทธิ์มี GA แต่แบบโอเนอร์ไม่มีแน่นอนนะ
I haven't been
100 ล้าน
to
เปอร์เซ็นต์
quite a while. Anyway, I
Game
don't know why I'm talking about banks.
Game State post the Herald play is better for D+, right? They end up getting that money.
Yeah.
They are going to have a lot of bottom side control for this Dragon. It looks like T1 want to threaten another Baron play, though, instead. Showmaker has ult and TP, though, so she was been spending a lot of this game just free farming, which I guess if your T1 makes you feel pretty good because he's not fighting you in a brawl where he's going to be at his strongest now that he's got Hysterics online. But he eventually, I mean, if you're not getting anything topside, eventually he's just going to get too much money. And T1 don't really have a strong play right now to be made. Doran looking for this flank wrap around here to maybe catch somebody, but nobody's in the jungle for him to get. And now the Dragon is just kind of free pickings here for Lucid to take even maybe solo. And the cross map was ambitious at best for T1.
Yeah, you've got Smash coming on over, so this Drake
So
is going
point
to
ครับ
take
ตรงนี้
it very, very quickly. Showmaker may be in trouble though, as Public Execution are going to come from across the wall perhaps. As there's the Pantheon making his way in, but immediately stops. There is the ultimate, but it's just barely out of range. And Showmaker will go down, but the Drake is going to be the trade. And now Korea is taking Ona for a walk. Shiu is going to show up this time. And I think Ona is going to die for the 5th time. Down he goes. The Umbral Dash through the wall there. As now Doran is getting enclosed here in this top lane. And I do not think he's escaping this one. Flag and Drag. And it's going to be Lucid with his 6th kill of the game in trade for an outer turret bottom lane.
Faker does get that turret. Hayes is getting some additional farm here in the mid lane. It's not a completely sided play, in fact. So this ends up getting T1 at least something in exchange for the Dragon, right? But the D+ were so ready for it. Now they actually say with a man advantage and a jungler, we're looking to take Baron. And let's see if they can actually get over here. Faker does have Realm Warp to come in here. He just got his Actualizer. This is a risky call from D+.
This could be very dangerous. No ultimate from Ona, though, so he can't actually join. Doran can. He can get back here very, very quickly. The teleport does come through from Showmaker as Career's in a bit of trouble. Has to flash away. It couldn't be a 50-50, though, because there's no Pantheon in the pit. Down goes the Baron, and DK look to escape and trade only Career for it.
And T Plus are playing such a good map game. Like, I don't even want to call it macro. They just know what's going on the map at all times, judge the situation incredibly well, know they have the damage.
Would you say that they know what they're destined for?
นี่สมัยอ่ะ
I would
คื
say
อ
that.
โอนเนื้อ
They
ตาย
have a gate, perhaps, that they are able to open and
เก
see
ได้
the
ป้อมกลาง
future.
เฉย
I think I would absolutely say that, yeah.
Beautiful.
As
ฮ่า
I mean, for
GA
me, the whole point, I hope we get this moment here. Watch how quickly Showmaker, by the way, he's
คือ
100%
รอนานไปหน่อยนี่
He's like hovering.
คือจะรอให้
He's like,
โอนเนอร์ตัน
I'm
ก่อน
gonna cold card it and I'm gonna play this. And by the way, Aatrox is gonna TP. He buys so much time here. He's so tanky on this.
เรื่องนี้จริง
twisted
โดรันต้อง
bait
ปล่อย
that they're like,
โอนเนอร์
"Alright,
ตายไปเลย
we knew you were gonna force this play because we got Dragon and we were ready to respond here." And I think T1. I mean, that was really ambitious what they were trying to do. I mean, they had Doran flanking for so long. They're like, we're going to get something. And they did, but it cost them the Baron and a ton of map control. The Gold League doesn't change.
โอ้ my god โอ้ my god ซิว
He's going to flash away the public execution.
Oh my god.
And Faker is going to shut him down. Did have to
สวย
use
จัด
the
แต่
flash
ว่า
for it, but
ต้องเสีย
man,
แฟดเฟเกอร์
terrifying.
ว่ะ
But they have Baron.
ที่ชอบประหลาดมาตัดอีก
Getting out of these,
โอ้ไม่โดน
these
สวยมาก
replays. But yeah, they do have a Baron. They are going to push down this mid lane. But with that pick, it might help subdue, perhaps.
I mean, it helps them from prevents them from having 3 pushing lanes here during this Baron, but I think they're going to get 2 turrets off of this.
Yeah, this bottom situation is a bit of a problem as Lucid going to get chased away.
I mean, you don't have many options as T1. Doran's getting a lot of money here. I mean, T1 have gotten a lot of
Doran
gold, but they haven't gotten map
Doran
control. It seems
The
like
world's
punished.
shortest gate comes down for Showmaker, looking to hold Doran in position. He's going to try and teleport away.
Okay,
and you know what? He's going to be successful. Out he goes. Showmaker is going to lock a red card, unfortunately. Didn't have time to wait for a gold. And so out goes the Ambessa.
All right, so that's a win on the escape, but what I was trying to say before they went for that big play is the gold has stayed really small here, the lead for D+. In fact, it's shrunk even down to sub 1,000. And T1 have been getting the money everywhere, but they haven't been getting the map control over these important objectives. So you can see the power play here is negative, actually, for D+ right now. But they continue to push these waves, right? There's a lot of gold to be picked up on that bottom turret if it does go down here, as Showmaker is very far forward.
สวยมากโดรันทำไปเลยโอ้ยเชี่ยไปอีกด้านหนึ่ง
Looks to get on top of him. It might have been a bait, though. As Final Spark is
ได้แค่นั้น
a support lux,
ได้
so
แฟด
it is not going to be Showmaker taking too much damage here. Still, had to use the flash in the play. And 1 minute and 20 seconds. That is the timer that we're looking at here. As the kills are even, the gold lead is basically just TF. And the Rebel Baron
แต่
power
เงิน
play
ค่อยๆกลับมาครับ
One day, you know, Aatrox will get the team fight. He's ready.
Yeah, surely.
30 minutes in, he's like, yep, I'm going to team fight. He's on the bottom side of the map where the Drake is spawning. Maybe
แต่ว่าเฟเกอร์แรงมากตอนนี้คือไลฟ์3ชิ้นนี้คือโคตรแรงแถมมีอาร์มการ์ด1ด้วย
That is kind of huge.
เข้าไปลำแล้วก็อาร์มการ์ดได้
EA is done. There are some items coming in.
เมื่อก่อนชิ้น3จะเป็น voice staff อะไรเนาะแต่ว่ามี actualizer คือแบบ
He's got an arm guard
สบายเลย
to break as well. And Pays is so
แม่งแรง
close
โค
to
ตร
those 4 items
แล้วก็อันนี้ก็เป็น dead cap ขึ้น 1,200 แล้วดูว่านาฬิการะเบิดหรือเปล่า
Doran's ult's gonna come back very quickly
ไออาร์มการ์ดระเบิดยัง
40 seconds
อาร์ม
to
การ์ด
go.
ไม่ระเบิดก็ขึ้น dead cap ถ้าอาร์มการ์ดระเบิดก็ขึ้น สัญญา
spawns really, but if they can group here, get Faker into position, maybe be able to reposition the team fight. It's hard for D+ to actually fight for this dragon. Are D+ willing to give this up is the real question, as T1 just kind of fight their way through this bottom side of the river here to get that control away. And this is the first time T1 have really strong control over the objective itself, and now D+ have to kind of play it blind here. Showmaker could ult for vision.
ที่วันตรงนี้
There's
เสีย
that
เปรียบ
teleport
ว่ะ
in. Death Dance in hand. Pays gets his HP
Pays
bar halved
หายไปเยอะเลยอะเลือด โอ้ my god แล้วมีแบบ
He's ready to team fight.
Let's see whether he
Shemtek
does make his way
Must go on.
forward. Destiny does come through. Doran looking
โอ
for a
เน
bit
อ
of
ร์
an engage.
ได้
Into
มัง
the
กร
back
แต่
line.
ว่าด้านหลัง
Goes
ตรงนี้เพส
Shield.
เตรียมเดินมา
Gets the knock up on
โอ้
the carrier.
ช่วยเพสหน่อยเพสตายว่ะ
Trying to kite this
เพสไม่มีอะไรรอดละ
but he's not in the team
โอ้ย
fight. The
แท็บ
trap
แท็บ
down though. He
โอ้
might
ตัวแหลก
be
ว่ะ
able to find this, but
เชี่ย
instead he is taken out.
โอ้โหดูรันอันติ
Doran
ไม่โดน
tries to escape and gets gold carded into the grave, and Smash should be able to help Showmaker grab the kill.
ได้มังกรแต่เสียเยอะเลยครับ
Two of the carries on T1 are now down, but the Drake was denied by T1.
T1 do get the dragon, but they lose the fight, and the gold lead is actually the biggest it's ever been here for D+, and it might get even bigger with this turret going down here in the bottom lane. Carrier desperately trying to final spark to buy time, but this turret is going down.
2.5k kills here for Showmaker. Congratulations for that one.
And this is a really big moment for T1 because Pays is fully online. You can see it
เอาเป็น
in
โกด
that
เดี๋ยวมั้ง
last
เมื่อ
fight.
กี้
The
ซิว
fact
มั
that
น
they
แบบ
deny the
โอ้ย
soul.
เฟกเกอร์
Oh dear. True shot barrage. Fair bit of damage onto Faker, but a little bit less than I was expecting, to be honest. I don't think I accounted for that arm guard quite as well as I could have.
Yeah, there's no Jarvan ult, there's no flash for Lucid, so Faker was actually in a pretty safe spot there, but decides to go just the same. This is a really intense game. Like,
it really is.
It's not over till it's over on this one because they get the secure here. Paze plays this so well. Like, he's out of the trough. Watch him play this. He drops one trap that she was able to avoid, but here on the corner during his Q animation, he's not able to avoid the next one.
ทำทุกอย่างแล้วจิ้มทีเดียวตายติดคีย์
I mean, if this was a team fight though, like if anyone's able to CC Shiu at all, right? Like, he's dead, 100%. And like DK need to be like, I guess, congratulated for being able to make that separation.
Oh my god!
They had no eyes
ยากเหลือเกิน
to wrap around and get that backside angle. If he doesn't, I think T1 smashed that fight. So D+, they're not necessarily in a winning position just yet, but they do have control over this Baron pit.
Yeah, Showmaker does press.
เฮ้ยได้ปะสมัครเชียร์ไม่มีแฟด
Now Showmaker going to turn up, looks for
แฟดกูดาวนิดเดียวเองมันชนะเวลาไฟเมื่อกี้
Now on cooldown is Shiu trying to press some buttons, but they're trying to hold him off.
โดนเหยียบ
Owner
ตาย
sacrifices himself for the good of the colony. And Doran is looking to try and push away this
โอ้ยคิด
Aatrox,
ถ้าเกิด
but the Baron is
มี
live.
แต่มันมีเคลนอยู่ดี
And
นะ
D+ have just killed the jungler.
มีระฆังมีเคลนอยู่ดี
TP back from Showmaker, he's at full health. I think they could have just gone for it there, but they want to play it a little bit more safely.
Looking pretty cool with his new hat as well. Showmaker now pretty powerful.
Now they can do it now that he's here, and it's not realistic for a contest here for T1. Control vision on this Baron as well, and Doran's going to go give his teammates the bad news. And with no Pantheon here, it is a free one. As Doran is still coming over here, but I just don't see any world. The desperation area. It's on a low cooldown, so you go for those, but they won't get it.
You miss every shot you don't take, so you may as well go for the final spot.
เลด
We'll
เก
see
ม
whether this Rebel
มัน
Baron
โดน
power
ซี
play
ซี
is going
ไม่
to
หยุด
be
เลยดิ
better. Right
กู
now,
อะ
sitting at about 1100, as Shiu is going to look to try and get himself out of the way, but Faker was
ล็อก
not
ขาไม่โดน
actually
ว่ะ
in.
ได้
That one public execution comes down, and Shiu is just going to die right at the beginning of the Baron.
Yeah, that's a huge pick. A lot had to be used for it, but I think it's worth it.
โอเคซิวยัง
They used 2 ultimates
ยังไม่กลับบ้าน
to secure this
ยัง
one.
จัดให้
So when you look at this fight here for T1,
ผู้ชอบประหลาดสแมทนี่คือแบบของจริงนะเอสเรียลสแมทนี่แม่งสุดจริง
because their jungler went in so early. Like, Owner's so far up there that D+ is just like, nah, Paze can't get in, and we're just going to wait. And then eventually everyone from T1 backs away, but the Pantheon is just not lucky enough to do so. So Owner dies. That leads to a Baron, but the next play, which catches Shiu, really puts a dampener on how much damage D+ want to get with this Baron, which is opening up these inhibitor turrets and opening up the base. GA
เฟกเกอร์กดวาร์ปด้วยไอ้เชี่ยปากกวาดเจอลูซิดแล้วแบบว่าลูซิดทำหน้าเหมือนจิ้มแล้วแบบกดวาร์ปอะ
I mean, this Jarvan actually does a lot of damage.
ปู่
Be hard to kill him. His GA is still on cooldown for the next little while though, so does need to be a little careful.
Imagine
do have that advantage.
ปู่แย่งมินเนี่ยนโอนเนื้อหมดเลยโอนเนื้อกดคิวแล้วไม่เหลือเหี้ยเลย
That secure of the dragon for T1 is
ไอ้เหี้ย
doing
มี
them
คุก
so
กี้ไม่ได้
much
ทำลาย
good
คุก
in
กี้
this game.
ป่ายเมื่อ
Oh
กี้
yeah.
โอ้
Showmaker now splitting towards that bottom side. This is a composition that runs 1-3-1 pretty effectively. But once again, I mean, it's a negative Rebel Baron power play. T1 playing into this Baron over and over again. It's just putting like Isaac, Zale Cummings, Bentley's voice in my mind. Baron just isn't that good.
เลเวลห่างกัน2เลเวลจังเกิลท็อปเลนห่างกัน
As even
2เลเวล
with 2 of them, D+ haven't been able to extend that lead all that far.
With a Rise and a Caitlyn, you have so much wave clear, especially against that mid wave, which is what D+ have been mostly playing.
โชว์เมเกอร์ตอนนี้แบกจัดอะปาไพ่โคตรแรง
That it is not that powerful of a Baron here. Dragon's up in 25 seconds here. Paze will have his flash soon, but doesn't have it yet. I think
ด้านหลัง
he'll
มา
have it
ว่ะ
just as this is
ชิบหายแล้ว
spawning,
ได้แฟ
which
ง
is
ว่ะ
huge for him because this time they don't actually have that flanking Aatrox necessarily.
He is looking for it though, and now Doran trying to escape. Showmaker with that gold card locked, and T1 moving so far.
Sterlak
away. My
เด้ง
God,
เลย
that true shot barrage is so much damage.
ทีเดียว
Doran is
Sterlak
out of here, can teleport back.
D+ just have to rush this down. They have to just rush this dragon down as fast as
โอ
possible.
เค
It is
ต้อ
a
งปล่อย
Chemtech dragon. It's not that tanky. I think they should be able to get it. Shiu's still
Owner
holding this flank.
โดนลาน
Showmaker looks for the flank himself.
He's like the big bad wolf, man. He's just lurking in the jungle, in the forest, waiting to grab them. That is going to be the Chemtech soul, only further buffing this massive Aatrox in this game.
โด
That
ราน
was
คาวา
such
ตาย
a great way to set up for that dragon control as
Oh
all.
no! Doran's just dead. He was trying to walk through that T1 door, and unfortunately just wasn't able to this time around.
They could have TP'd him back into the fight, but he stayed, and Showmaker zoned him away, and there was just no way to get to the dragon for T1. D+
ชะล่าใจเพราะว่า
fight. They
สาย
just
ล่างมัน
look
โด
for
นยึดหมดแล้ว
control. As Lucid's just going to do some trap clearing here and potentially set a
แม่ง
bait,
เมิร์กเทรด
but I don't think there's really
ตื่น
any
อย่างไว
follow-up to this.
Yeah, it was just kind of wandering away from a few of the abilities that were coming in. playing some defense. The Showmaker here towards his top side with his
เพราะเห็น
Magi
เมสเตอร์แหลกแล้วแบบ โดรานจบแล้วเรื่องการกันเวทอะตอนนี้โดรานไม่มีอะไรกันเวทเลย
There's one thing that he does really well, and that is destroy turrets extremely quickly, especially with this build. You go Death Cap, you got to
แคมเมล่ารู้งานไม่คือแคมเมล่าเขาจะ
But you were
เขาจะรู้ก่อน3วิครับ
feels like in so many ways with
Yeah,
Elman
just
team.
auto-
คือมันจะมีคน
Why the cards hurt?
มองจอนักแข่งอยู่แล้วก็รู้ว่ามันเกิดอะไรขึ้นแล้วก็
That is just kind of,
ได้ข้อมูลแล้วก็บอกแคมเมล่าแมนแล้วแคมเมล่าแมนก็แบบ
I've seen some
ไปรอเลย
YouTube guy like throw a card into a watermelon, kind of like that.
I've seen a lot of those. They're great.
They're pretty crazy. D+ they've been doing such a good job of controlling objectives and not losing the game.
Five items, Wolf. 5 items for pace. I'm scared.
They're not doing the risky team fight thing. They're not doing the forced team fight. They're doing the I'm near Pace as Aatrox. You can't fight, and we win the objective. This gold lead has gone up substantially as they get more and more of these structures off the map, but they haven't done
เคียรียังไม่ตาย
the lethal blow to T1 just yet. T1 have such an incredibly strong team fighting
GA
competition.
2 คนไม่รู้ว่า
They can
GA
just
ลง
keep
ยังไง
owning
เลยอะ
with the squad and
แล้ว
use
โชว์
them
เม
as
เกอ
more
ร์
of a
นี่ตาย
frontline
ยาก
and an
มาก
engage tool. I feel like the longer fight is almost always won by T1 if they
Faker
can
รวย
get
แต่
map
ว่ามัน
control for an objective as
บอส
well.
ว่ะ
Not the time I want to see a pause.
No. At least it's not mid-team fight.
That would be the only time it would be worse.
But hoping we can get a little bit of information as to why this is happening. Hopefully, you know, like someone's mouse just ran out of battery or something like that. So it is, can confirm, peripheral problem. So maybe it is exactly that. Maybe we just didn't charge our mice before we came to work today. As it's
เฮ้ยทำไมเขาทำได้แล้วอ่ะดูดิ
cannot confirm just yet.
แชทคืออะไรไหมเขาซื้อได้แล้วอ่ะ
Issue of some kind, so
I'm
probably
just trying to
simple.
work out whether it is the mouse running out of battery or not, because like that would be pretty cool if it was just a guess.
It does look like it's
อ๋อเป็นเกาหลีถูกปะ
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I cannot confirm that his mouse isn't plugged in wired, but most players, well, I would say actually in
ห
modern
รือเราซื้อของเกาหลีดีวะ
times, it's more common than you think to play with a wireless mouse.
Yeah, I mean, a
Used
lot
to
of
be
our pros
unheard of.
moved over to it. Yeah, I actually thought that like all of the purists were like, no, the polling rate is just nowhere near high enough. But I think that it's kind of been a thing of the past, not having a weird.
แล้วเมมเบอร์สมัครแล้วเป็นแล้วได้เลยปะ
is kind of better.
Looks, I mean, as you guys can see him, and it looks like the issue.
สมัครเมมเบอร์แล้วซื้อได้เลยปะ
It looks, yeah, it's wireless. It's wireless. It might have actually been a battery issue, no joke.
I really hope it was, because that would have been very, very funny.
อ๋อสมัครไม่ได้แล้ว
I believe we are about to pop
Holy
back
shit.
into the game in a couple of moments, and in fact, you can see there are some buttons being pressed, and
อ๋
here
อ
we are.
เปิดรับแค่ตอนธันวา
a brief interlude.
I think D+ have one more job to do, which is to secure either this Baron.
I thought you were
which
going to
is-
say kill the Nexus.
Well, that's like what they do. They get to do that for free once they do the job.
That's the reward for the job.
So either get this Baron or get this Elder, right? And I think the Baron's spawning first will likely be what they get. If they lose the Baron and just defend, I think they're still in the strong
Wait.
spot.
Owner's taking a lot of damage. He does have a GA, so he's not going to die from this, but True Shot Barrage through the base gate, not going to hit him.
Good prediction of where I probably would have true shot the same way, expecting Owner to walk down there, but he does not. As could have gotten a GA there, but you know you cannot be losing your jungler. That's what happened last time around. Although it was again not necessarily his fault. It was set up there for D+.
ตอนนี้เริ่มอยากหาใครที่มีเมมเบอร์แล้วก็ฝากซื้อแล้วอะ
Destiny Gate to play through. They have this Jarvan with Flash and ult.
พี่ไม่เข้าใจอ่ะคือตอนแรกพี่ไม่รู้ว่ามันเป็นยังไงบ้างแล้วตอนนี้เข้าใจ
Seems
ละ
to be a lot more potent in these fights. He's 4,000 gold up on his opposition.
dear.
Speaking of,
There it is. Dash Cannon does get Showmaker
Alright.
closer to that gold card. Doran taking a lot of damage. True Shot Barrage is going to snipe him, but he is able to get himself out of the way. But Flash now down
That might
on
just
the
be-
Ambassador, and the ulti's already used.
I mean, that might just be like Baron Prio. That might just be enough. You know, Shiu has TPs pushing bottom wave right now, but could just TP in and they could just take this. If they get this Baron Siege, I don't know if T1 will be able to recover because that leads to Elder. And D+ don't have to win a team fight to win this game. They just need to get these objectives.
แล้ว T1 member
And
เขา
they
ซื้อได้
decide
คนละ
to
กี่กล่อง
pull
ค
off
รับ
of it right now as Owner's walking forward on Division. They might punish him. Showmaker's got that gold card.
Yeah, he's lining it up. And it is the final spark just to spot what's happening in that Baron pit. They do get the good
กล่องเดียวจบ
news.
ละ
The Baron hasn't been
ไม่
taken.
มีภาพ
The
ไม่มี
discipline of D+ in this game is out of control. They're just
Hello,
not
Hab.
going to flip anything.
I like how you say that it's out of control when discipline is about being in control.
They're so out of control, well behaved.
They're out of control in control. It's the best. All right. D+ DK though, they still need to do something to push this advantage forward.
เส้นสายแล้วออกโทรมา
Otherwise,
เมื่อ
T1
กี้
might just be able to outlast them here in this game. But Shiu on that flank angle.
สายตรงโทรมา
1 minute and 30 seconds, and then things start to get complicated.
Yeah,
with an Elder on the Rift as well as a Baron.
The ult for Doran is back up, of course. He doesn't have his flash anymore, but he has TP. He actually got a little bit of bottom side control there, which he hasn't had for a little while since she rotated up.
แต่จริงแต่ว่า
Yep, she is level 20.
ตะกี้เราอดโทรมาจริง
Almost about to hit that mark.
Here we go.
Now
ไม่ได้ล้อเล่น
engage. Korea with the speed up. And Faker not going to quite get on top of Smash just yet. Does manage to get over towards him, but has to go golden very early. Showmaker does the other gold card. Faker doesn't have his life. And Smash is going to be able to take him down. There's that
โบราณว้าวลงมา
kill.
เชี่ยจบปะ
An
ไปเกม 3
overextension.
ปะ
And now Doran is
ง่ายกว่า
going to
จริ
suffer
ง
the same fate.
คือมัน
No
เป็นเพลย์
public
ที่แบบ
execution for anything
ถ้า
other
พูดตาม
than
ตรงก็
yourself,
คือเป็นเพ
my
ลย์ที่แบบ
friend. And D+ have taken out the solo lanes. Owners go
มัน
in
หลุด
the
ไป
other
แล้ว
direction to try and pull these minions and deny the end of the game. But it should just be the jungler dead with Elder coming up. The Baron as well. It should be Exodia for D+.
D+ should just be able to get that, but if they get more here, they might be able to end the game.
Yeah, Carrier looking to try and hold Chiyu into position. This is what we were talking about before. That's a decent Umbral dash. But if they have the extra CC, Pays might be able to get it done. And Ace in the hole does come in, but Chiyu is still just fine.
Yeah, he's totally
Oh,
fine
maybe
here. He did his
collector.
job exactly correctly there. Doesn't flash onto Pays because he knows Pays would just flash away and kill him. They get the Baron. Baron should lead to Elder, as we'll see if there's any way T1 can muster defense here. But this is just D+ being so patient, and in a rare moment of overextension here for T1, in a rare moment of a lack of patience here in this game, Faker just sends it. I mean, this is unlike T1, but just watching D+ just spend this entire game avoiding fights and waiting for T1 to come into an objective or make a mistake is crazy to me. Like, D+ have grown so much. They used to be a team that were so indecisive, a team that would snap engage at the wrong moments, but now they're just the macro gods sitting back and saying, your move, D1.
But this is the thing, right? Like, this is what D+ used to be so good at back in the day. This is why they were like the kings of 2020 and most of 2021 until EDG kind of pipped them at the post at the very end. It's the 1-3-1. It's playing the map, playing side lanes,
and it's crazy that
getting victories.
80% of this roster is different,
Yeah,
but they came back to it. Showmaker eventually taught those kids how to do it, and look, they did the job I said that was the last job left to do, and now Takluz, I think what's really left, like you said, is killing the Nexus. That's the last possible thing they have to do in this game. They have done their job. They have the win con. All they got to do is push to end now.
We'll see whether they can actually do it, because this would be devastating if they were to lose here. 10,000 gold going to be their advantage this time around, returning the favor that T1 gave to them in game number 1. Now Smash is trying to find this next turret, and yeah, the counter siege is pretty good for T1. This is the
1 นาที
third
ครึ่งเองอ่ะจริงๆแบบชีวิตคนเรา1 นาทีครึ่งมันแป๊บเดียวมากเลยอะแต่ในเกมมันนานมากอ่ะ
They have Elder as well. Like
1 นาทีครึ่งแบบ
Soul and the Baron. And if they were to ever lose any of
แล้วใคร
these
กันล่ะที
fights,
นี้
it would be absolutely ridiculous.
D+ are spilling in now with a minute and 20 on this Elder. I think they should be able to end if any of this poke lands, and it's starting to hit.
Oh my goodness, Smash does so much damage. There's Lucid getting the knockup onto Faker. Just one more shot, the gold card is denied by Faker. The wild cards don't come in. It's public execution onto Showmaker into the back line. They do take out Faker though. The final spark not quite working. Owner is going to execute Showmaker, but now he's in such an awkward spot. Lucid as well, down to the GA though, and Owner trying to fight with Shiu. I think we know who wins that battle, but it's Pays picking up a couple of kills.
The minions are here.
Smash needs to do this for D+ if they want to win off the back of this Elder. Otherwise, T1 might find themselves in a decent spot. 2 inhibitors are now down. True shot barrage. Carrier going to get executed by a dragon. Pays taken out by Shiu. And I think they've done it. D+ are going to give us
จี ครับผม
3
เกม 3
games
ค
here
รับ
at the T1 Homeground.
Very close here until the very end, but D+ in the game the way they played the entire mid to late game. They were hiding, they were setting up objectives on the
ฟอร์ม
final
แบบว่า
objective.
ฟอร์มแบบ
They were
โค้ชแม่งอยากกดปุ่มเปลี่ยนตัว คือแบบ
with some mystic shots there in the true shot barrage.
เหมือนแสงมันพุ่งไปที่โอเนอร์
But they played such an impressive game of League of Legends. Some of these plays, these calls from T1 look like mistakes, but eventually they just were like, eventually they're going to kill our base if we don't do something aggressive. And that call from Faker to go in to try to set up the play on the rise just didn't hit. Doran TP's in, following up there to try to get into the back line and hold the wave, gets burst down.
เชียย้อนได้ปะเดี๋ยวคือแบบไม่ได้อยากเจอแล้วไม่อยากเจอแบบG2 BLG แล้วขอย้อนเวลาแบบ
all of those buffs, Paze was still half
Oh
healthy.
my
Everyone
God.
was shooting, man. It was still so scary for
They
D-Plus.
solved the Paze problem. Just don't team fight into him. Put an Aatrox on top of him, or otherwise just run away and not fight. And they played such a great game. It's 44 minutes here, but this is one of the best games of D+ since the 2021 era, right? That we've seen from them on the map. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely amazing as well. Vintage Showmaker on his Twisted Fate. So good to see it. Holding the gold card against Faker and instead kills Doran with it. Gorgeously played. Let's go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break that one down. And then we'll have the final game of this amazing series.
Proud and doing such a
อยาก
fantastic job.
มี
That same
ที
situation
วัน
here. And against the Preds as well.
กูน่าสมัครไป
Right? They have
ไม่
won
มี
both of them
ที
so
วัน
far
เมมเบอ
this
ร์
season against Bro and against BK Furex earlier in I think round 2.
ทีวันเมมเบอร์มันหายากจริง
D+ will pull it off, but as we's on the call right now
ไม่ขายให้กับเฟกแฟน
over at T1
ไม่รู้พี่ไม่รู้เรื่องเลยอ่ะ
to Atlas and Wolf.
อยากได้การ์ดทีวันมากเลยว่ะ
I thought that I
แต่ว่าไปเห็นราคาในกลุ่มแล้ว
told me
40,000
that earlier today, and I
it's a bit of a surprise, but you know,
คือ
it's a
40,000
welcome one given the fact that the series isn't over, I guess.
asked him again at 30 minutes into game 3.
Yeah, whoops.
นั่นเลยนะเกมนี้เกมสุดท้ายแล้ว จะแตกหรือเปล่า
Sorry to take away from the end of the space there just a little bit. I appreciate saying that I was
เคเดถอดเสื้อเหรอ
all that stuff, but I didn't even know that
ผม
I
ขอ
was.
20,000 พอเดี๋ยวปริ้นให้
Crazy.
อันนี้เป็นกระดาษ A4 หรือเป็นกระดาษอะไรอันนี้ขอถามก่อน บล็อกธรรมดาซื้ออยู่แล้วแต่บล็อกลายเซ็นอยากได้บล็อกธรรมดาซื้ออยู่แล้ว1,000,000 60,000 มันคือภาษาอังกฤษถ้าเกิดซื้อ 40,000 ภาษาเกาหลีซื้อ 60,000 เลยดีกว่า
But that's all right. Let's get into this. T1, they have first pick once
กระดาษ
again.
กระดาษทรายเหรอ
As you get
กระ
deeper
ดาษ
into
สา
the field, as though first pick gets a little bit more murky as far as its value, and so I think
กระดาษ
this is
สาม
going to
คือ
be
กระดาษ
such
อะไร
a
วะ
close game 3.
อะไรคือกระดาษสาวอะ
Absolutely. And game
กระดาษ
1
สา
felt like such a T1 draft, and Owner and Carrier ran the entire game, right? With the Camille set up there with the Vi. And then in game 2, Lucid just gets the better of Owner, crushes him in game 2.
ไปเลยพี่
And it's a
จำเทค
very
เอา
D+
แต่ว่า 60,000 มัน
flavored draft with the Twisted Fate. Feels 2021-esque, as we were saying. But moving into game 3, who knows what kind of draft we're going to see with so many of these big champions removed. This will be the deciding game, and maybe D+ can break the 4-win
ม้าผมเกม
streak at their
สุด
home
ท้าย
ground.
ของที่วันนี้แหละครับ เพราะว่าเดี๋ยวพี่จบอันนี้เดี๋ยวพี่จะลงก่อนแล้วเดี๋ยว 2 ทุ่มมาใหม่ จะลงไปทำไอตัวระบบลิฟต์เบาทำกับไอตัวบอทAI กำลังพัฒนาอยู่เมื่อคืนเขียนโค้ดจนประมาณตี 4ไม่ไหวว่าทำไม่ได้ว่ะคือทำแบบพอลงการเยอะแล้วมันมึนไปหมดเลยเดี๋ยวตอนนี้กำลังจะเปลี่ยนระบบใหม่
T1 with a lot more skirmishes, scrappiness. The circus was in town.
แล้วออกไปข้างนอกทำไมมีเกม3ที่วันสตาร์ทเกมแรกแบบโหดอยู่แล้วแล้วโอนเนอร์ยังเล่นต่อนะ
Nocturne as well will be taken away.
I think
and
Bard
Lulu,
again.
going to be answered.
Lulu and Bard probably traded here.
แสดงว่าโค้ดน่าจะโดนไปเยอะว่ะวันนั้นที่แพ้โค้ดน่าจะโดนกระหน่ำเลยเพราะว่าแบบฟอร์มมันดีอยู่ไง
Yep. Unless they want to leave it for a first pick, because I think it's pretty first pickable now. Maybe, unless the Nivea is something he's scared of.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is going to be T1 having first pick this time around, like you say. It could be the angle here. I'm trying to think of what else you don't want to deal with. The Caitlyn even was taken already, so that's not a factor here.
I think the Yunara compositions and things like that were the ones at the forefront of people's minds, but the Lucian still needs to be banned, so that Cassiopeia is still likely to be picked up.
I wonder if Smash and Career do have a lane.
แบนเหมือนเดิม3 เกมเลยอะ
The answer is no.
And also, don't take the risk.
ไม่มี J4 ไม่มีเฉาไม่มี Y โอนเนอร์เล่นอะไรอะ
Don't give them the option. But it's a snake for
โอลาฟไม่มีแล้วมีแคสซี่หลุดเฟเกอร์เล่น1,000,000%ครับคุณผู้ชม
Works with so many different picks.
1,000,000%
Cassiopeia is the new Azir, right? Where it's strong in lane,
คิด
scales
ที่เหลือได้เลยครับ
really
แคสซี่อยู่แล้ว
well,
1,000,000%
just does too many things too well.
so much consistent damage as well, so you can
แต่ว่าจะโดน
play
แย่ง
all
เช
sorts
น
of things on the bottom
ล้าน
side
เปอ
of
ร์เซ็น
the
ต์เหมือนกัน
map and still feel like you can do that DPS late game. The Jace though will be the first pick for Dora.
Oh my god โดน
And
แค
that
สซี่
outranges
เชน
the Casio. I actually kind of think this is a really interesting
ปล่อยแคสซี่
choice
เชนให้กับ
for
DK
T1,
คุณผู้ชม
looking at what was still available.
Yeah. Just puts a lot of faith in Doran in this draft.
Oh my god.
And I'm not saying that that's
เดี๋ยว
misplaced.
นะ
It's
แคสซี่
just
เชน
not
เอา
what I
แอนนิเวียไป
expected. I
ไป
mentioned
สู้
in
เหรอ
game one that they could have also done
และ
this,
แอนนิเวีย
but
ไป
they
สู้
didn't
แล้ว
opt for it then.
แอนนิเวียกับอะไร
This
อะ
time around with a lot more banned away, they do. But you know, picks like the Yorick is still there, the Cassante is still available. There's a lot of ways to respond to this. They could just go Cassiopeia, Cassante. Because you have a front line for that
แล้วอะไร
scaling
ไปสู้อะ
Cassiopeia. It's a good matchup into the Jace. And we'll see what Faker's answer
Oh
is
my
going
god,
to be. I think they
เจอเชนด้วย
have a plan. They expect the Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
And so let's see, is it just Faker's and Nivea? That would be a little disappointing
เอา
to
เต้
me,
ว่ะ
to be honest, but I think
ตัวนี้ต้องเลือก
Faze
เชน
could
ป่ะ
do
เชน
something
ซิก
else.
Well, the
ต้องเลือก
Cassante
เชน
will be
ซิ
the
กอะ
lock in here. We've seen that work actually decently well into the Jace, but I think it is
ตรงนี้ต้องเลือกเชนซิกกับพี่ไม่รู้อะ
I guess hinges on what
แล้ว
you're
เลือก
going to be playing in
ไม่
the
ก็เลือก
jungle
Tundle
alongside it. And I think Rammus is the
Tundle
perfect answer
Tundle
to
Shen
whatever you want to play.
Tundle Sig
Because it's Rammus. But no, Owner's going to hover some weird stuff first, and then we're going to see what's going to be locked in here as the Ziggs angle.
With no Camille and no Vi, I'm not a big
It's
fan
got
of.
Shen though, so Ziggs Shen could be the answer.
Or Ziggs Leona, I suppose, could be a thing.
Nautilus, maybe?
I would not prefer the Nautilus, but we'll see. I mean, you're going to lose those supports, or at least 2/3 of them if you don't lock it in right now. Possibly even all three if D+ take the support on three themselves and then ban both away.
Well, there's just so
I
much
think you have to go
outrange.
Shen if you want Shen right now. You have to lock it in. Instead, it's just going to be Trundle into the Cassante.
Man, this is really interesting though. I actually kind of love it from T1 because they've seen these strong picks, arguably, out of D+ Kia, right? In the Cassante matchup into the Jace, that's actually worked out quite well for the Cassante. Cassiopeia has been one of the most banned mid laners all patch long, but Trundle is a keep away champion and they outrange with everything else that they have. I think it's a really, really cute idea, especially with all that subjugate value that you get into this Cassante.
I agree. It's not something I saw coming, but it makes 1,000% sense here for Owner to be given this pick. Not great into the Nefiri in isolation, but everything else will come together. I think the Nefiri is a great counter pick here. Now, this engage is going to be taken away. T1 chose first pick, so they won't be able to pick first after the banning phase. So if T1 now find themselves losing the Leona and the Shen, they want the Nautilus might just go. So that's pretty scary considering how fragile this bottom lane can be.
I think they also need to like ban the Nautilus, right? Like D+ need a lot of engage if they want to get on top of this Jace and Ziggs.
They banned the Anivia instead. So let's see what they decide to go for here, T1, because I think you can try to put the focus on that bottom duo. Nautilus goes first, you mentioned it. And consistent damage is not a thing that this T1 draft has right now. And if they end up getting a carry for Smash here that has that, that is a big problem. Alistair taken away.
All right, so no Alistair to come through either. What is the engage support that D+ is going to look for? Leona is there, Shen is still there. So there are some options.
Should T1 ban Varus? You know, if you end up with a Varus lane against you and your Ziggs just gets dove because the prio is so hard that the Fury comes down, it could be a huge problem for Paze. We'll have teleport in this game, but only get one of those. The Trundle can help deter dive, but isn't necessarily great at it. Instead, we're looking at pulling a bit of a Peter here and dropping the Rakan.
I don't know whether I like this that much though, because they can still go for a Talia in theory. And so Rakan really struggles into all of those rocks, and it's even more keep away, right? Like you have the seismic shove to just say, get out of my face. I don't want to deal with this.
I agree with you. I think this is a pretty risky choice. And there isn't really a pick in this draft that makes me feel like it's going to fix it. Even if you go Xayah here, you're so low range into all of this poke. So is the Cassiopeia. Shen left available because they banned the Alistair, they banned the Anivia. Just surprised that Keria gets his hands on this after everything that's happened.
Does feel like something that probably shouldn't have been up and available.
What if Faker just plays this here? I'm serious.
He did do it recently, right?
Yeah, it's a good pick here. It also helps further keep away. He might just pick the Talia that you're expecting, but I think the Azir kind of works here. Helps the Trundle for setup. Strong mid jungle.
Give me the Xerath. That's what I want. Instead, it's the Victor. Victor feels, you know, a little bit more standard.
It's consistent damage, though. That was the one thing I think this draft was missing.
Akali where?
I'd rather not see an Akali in this game.
Wait, is it Cassio into Ziggs? This was a counter pick. Oh my God.
Atlas.
Showmaker on the Akali, and we've got Smash on the Cassio.
Okay, well, this is a matchup-specific pick. Mages in the bottom lane do well against other
กดผิดครับผม
mages in
โอ
the
เค
bottom lane. And so
แล้วดู
that's
ดาบ
where
นะผม
you're
ก็เป็น
headed.
แคสซี่เลนล่างครับผมไม่ได้อยู่กับเชนครับ
Draft
มาฮะ
build,
แล้วเป็นทันเดอร์อย่างที่บอกจริงทันเดอร์กับซิกแล้วก็เชนได้ซิกได้เป็นซิกเชนนะครับ
Now, if he
ทีวัน
doesn't fix it too heavily, it's gonna have some
เกมนี้ทีวัน
problems.
ต้องเล่นแบบเล่นแบบสปีดแบบเจนจีเมื่อวานเลยสปีดแบบสปีดบ้าเลยอ่ะ
He's going to be doing more, you know, MR than anyone else really can do on the side of T1
เล่นแบบสปีดเลยครับ
burst draft now.
ถ้าเล่นเลทคือระเบิดแน่นอน
I don't think they had to do this. I think they could have just drafted a winning lane. D Plus could have into the Ziggs and played through it with their Nefiri. But instead, we've just changed the entire draft at the snap of our fingers. A bit of a surprise, but a welcome one. We'll see if they can pull it off, though, because this draft needs the Akali to get ahead. And also, you know, Smash on Cassiopeia is still somewhat of an unknown right now, how well he's going to do in the lane. He should be able to win lane into the Ziggs, but
I mean, if it's anything like Smash's Victor, I think that D Plus fans are in good hands, right? He has actually really taken to the mage play on the bottom side of the map very, very well. This is not the norm, right? But it is certainly a whole lot of fun. I believe it was Viper that played the Cassio in the bottom lane first. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
มาครับผมเกมสุดท้ายที่วันต้องการชัยชนะเพื่อดีดตัวเองเป็นอันดับหนึ่งของกลุ่มแต่ถ้าที่วันแพ้ตอนนี้ก็บอกเลยว่ามันก็จะเหนื่อยมากๆในหลายๆเรื่องแบบมันเหนื่อยเยอะอะดับเกมนี้ที่วันเป็นดับแบบเป็น APC เลนล่างครับเป็นซิกกับเชนนะว่าเชนไปเดินส่วนของฝั่งของ DK ใช้เป็นแคสซี่ซึ่งจะกดได้ดีกว่านะเชนโดนแคสซี่กดอยู่เล่นบนโดรานเลือกเป็นบายพิกเจสมาเจอกับเคาน์เตอร์พิกเคสเต้ของซีวูครับแล้วก็ตรงกลางเป็นวิกเตอร์ไปเจออากาลีครับซึ่งอากาลีเป็นลาสฟิกก็ใช่ไหมอากาลีเจ็บอยู่อะถ้าอากาลีได้เล่นเฟเกอร์ไม่ได้เล่นเหมือนกันโอเนอร์เลือกเป็นทันเดอร์ไปเคาน์เตอร์จัดการเคซันเต้ครับแล้วก็มีน้องหมาของลูซิดที่จะเล่นกับอากาลีเพื่อฆ่าซิกแล้วก็วิกเตอร์เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยคอมของทีวันจะเป็นคอมเล่นเร็วแต่ถ้าเล่นแล้วพลาดเพียงจังหวะเดียวอากาลิหรือนาฟิลี่ได้ฆ่ามีเงิน GG เลยครับ That's it
And it can
That's
be very annoying to play if you are Pays. Notice Smash did not go teleport because he knows he's actually the one who has the pressure in this lane. He went for the more combat-oriented ghost in this.
That's an incredible satchel there from Pays. Just threw them all over the place. Not actually going to necessarily do too much as far as winning the trade, but looked really cool.
มันโผล่มาอีกแล้วว่าทีวันน่ะอยากได้ทีวันลิมบาวซิกเนเจอร์อ่ะ
It's a combo I hadn't really considered all too much, but it is going to work out in this case.
And the thing that I do want to talk about is the mid jungle here. Because I feel like Faker and Ona definitely have a lot more synergy, right? With the gravity field and the pillar.
Yes.
Like just sort of working so well together to try and guarantee these stuns from the Victor.
Multiply บอกว่า2
on the other
request
side, they have damage. Yeah, it's just...
มันต้องมีแต้มบุญด้วยครับ
Usually CC is the more interesting part. Sometimes you have one champion in the mid lane that does a lot of damage and then the jungler does a lot of CC and that works out well. But double CC can also work well because people just can't play the game then when you do that to them. But double damage often does not work out because the CC kind of comes into play. It stops you from doing it. But it's not a free setup with pillar and gravity field or anything like that.
ตอนนี้ UI พังอยู่นะ
It's
ข้อแม้ว่าอะไรครับ
REVI levels of damage and CC layered together. The Talia would have definitely been a lot stronger in that regard, but see how Faker plays this lane. Obviously generating a decent lead, but not enough to get anything on the Showmaker. This is just going to be annoying down here. Now, they did not opt for a Varus lane or anything like that, so not going to see an early Nefiri dive, but it is stopping backs right now, which is a pretty successful play. Pays will finish his back.
ได้กลับไปรีเซ็ตครับ
Yeah, going to be able to grab some items here as well. Double Antone.
ขึ้นสมุดมา2เล่มแล้ววาร์ปมาเลยไม่มีเลือดเพิ่มดาเมจ
And Smash will be able to push this wave in.
ทันได้ปะ
See, like Pays is doing
โอ้
really,
เห็น
really
แล้วว่า
well in this lane right now. As Ona making his way down. Korea not going to get interrupted or anything with a pillar.
เคเลียยังไม่อยากจะจริงๆแฟดทอนได้ตะกี้แล้วก็ระเบิดมาแล้วน่าจะได้แบบผมว่าเคเลียมัน
Now he doesn't have that TP.
Background entrance was so weird. Actually, caught Pays in his satchel.
อีบ้าแคสซี่มันเก่งเกิน
Just teleported back.
Yeah, exactly. Now he doesn't have it, and I was setting up for that because Career with a flash available is threatening that, right? He's constantly thinking, if I can set this up, Smash is going to do so much damage, even without his Ghost available on the chase. Smash knows that all Career needs to do is to hit one knock-up, and Pays is going to be out of the lane. Pays thought he could outplay it with the satchel there. Now finds himself down flash and down TP. We'll be able to hold this wave here. Carrier is going to be the one who backs first, but a very, very scary moment there. If he had lost that wave, that would have created such a ripple effect. His owner would have had to stay down there, would have affected his clear, and as a result, it is still a big win, but luckily for Pays, we normally see the sad triple longsword or sometimes triple dagger in the bottom lane. Triple amp tome is a new one.
Showmaker is going to find another ninja in his lane. Does kind of prefer it to be only one ninja in the lane. That's how it works in League of Legends, at least. They are a lone warrior. I wonder if that
ต้องให้ลดเฟเกอร์ลาดนะเพราะว่าเฟเกอร์จะเก็บสแต็ก
Lone warrior
เหมือนสแต็กเหมือนพวกสแต็กมันจะไม่ได้มั้งมันได้แค่เงิน
Otherwise you lose 1 HP.
Oh, I actually have no idea.
สวยจัดเลยซิว
That'd be very cute if it was. She was also playing the Aftershock version of the Cassante into a Trundle. That is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I would have just preferred to see another grasp here.
Well, Ona will have the ability to be basically immortal if he ever presses that button onto this Cassante. But that is, you know, a story for another time.
So he is
มันต้องรอแบบ
armor first.
ไอ้นี่ก่อนคือแคสซี่เมื่อก่อนมันแค่คองเคอร์เลอร์มันไม่ได้แรงขนาดนี้ตอนนี้มันเป็นไอ้รูนเผามันแรงมากเนิร์ฟรูนเผา please
if the ultimate is not there from Owner, nobody's going to be killing him or hurting him ever. So it's a good thing that they have that button. It will be very helpful.
โอเคครบพอดีแล้วก็วาร์ปกลับบ้าน
Lucid going to move down towards his bottom side. Ona clearing out a
ยังโชคดีที่ไม่เจอคินเด็ดนะพี่ว่าถ้าเจอคินเด็ดในคอมนี้พี่งงเลยว่าเล่นยังไงดีแต่มันฟาร์มเยอะไปมั้งลูซิดเลเวล 6 ครับโอเนอร์สมัยแพ้ไม่มีทางสู้ได้ตรงนี้ต้องปล่อยครับเสียบลูฟรีโคตรแย่
Yeah, they are just going to give this up though, respecting the power of the level 6 from this Nefiri. So T1 going to be playing back. The gold lead that they did have had got up to about 400, 500, something like that, but is now shrinking once more. But I just don't... I'm not sure whether I trust T+'s composition as we get further into this game. They need to show that they can force fights anytime they want. Because otherwise, I think T1 just win.
Exactly. It's very scary when this Victor becomes online. And if you can't crack, it also depends on what dragons we end up getting and stuff like that. But if you can't burst Faker, he actually is that consistent damage output, even into a Cassante building MR later on in this game. So I think the scaling, in a weird way, favors T1 probably. We'll have to see how the game state goes. Career will get a backstop here.
Oh, it's actually so annoying. Should guarantee the Drake.
มังกรน้ำด้วย Oh my god.
T1 had already decided not to fight for it. Faker laning very aggressively into Showmaker.
มังกรตัวแรกมังกรน้ำโคตรดี
another backstop here.
ไปเวทคืน
Oh, Pays going to get interrupted once again. The miasma is down. Smash is going to yell at him, and Pays going to survive here. But still a lot of damage to come out from this snake.
I mean, I think Lucid just kills. Pays. He
น่าตาย
doesn't have any buttons. He doesn't have flash.
Yeah, Satchel. When is it going to be back up and available? There it is. As Korea does get this wave knocked up, they are looking to try and shove this as fast as they can. Grubs are being taken. They've lost their blue buff. This is a big investment as the teleport comes out from Faker. And he's just going to turtle his way down here and sacrifice his lane just a little.
Yeah, we always wondered what D stood for in D+, but it's going back to that discipline from game number 2. It's not going to force the play, get the TP out of Faker.
หนึ่งกลับด้วยทำให้ลูซิดยังไม่เสียยังได้สมัยขอบคุณครับคุณบูมโอนิกิริด้วยครับ3 เดือน
I thought for sure that they were going to go for that dive a little bit faster, and then, you know, the TP from Faker might have tried to salvage it, but ultimately that didn't end up happening. It looks like this Recon tech, by the way, from Career, it's like he's been practicing his matchup. He actually understands how to interrupt Satchel, and we've never seen someone try to punish the Ziggs this way here in the LCK just yet. So he came prepared. We weren't 100% on board with the Recon at first, but watching how he's playing it with the winning Cassiopeia lane, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's certainly working. And it pairs with the Miasma quite nicely there as well. You can sort of guarantee it if Smash is ever able to get that in line. But Flash now down for the Cassio is going to make this somewhat dangerous, and they haven't been able to get too many plates from this turret yet. That's why T1 still has that 400 gold lead we were talking about before. Showmaker also not really being able to put a dent into mid lane just yet, although now that he has hit level 8, is feeling a lot more comfortable.
Just going to clear this wave and then leave. Faker going to make sure that's the case, dropping this ultimate on top of him.
Oh, that's not great.
The lane here on the bottom side is pretty right? We don't have the gold up right now because the UI is kind of bugged at the moment, but you can tell he's down a wave.
T1 ต้องเล่นเร็วมังกรต้องโอเคพยายามแต่มันก็วิกเตอร์ด้วยนะมันต้องฟาร์มเจออากาลีเล่นเร็วก็ไม่ได้ทำไงดีวะแชท
This mid game is going to look like here for T1 because they have a really strong set of bursty opposition in this
ต้องรอ
game
เพส
when we come into
ได้
these next
ตัว
few
เดดไฟ
fights, like this
โอ้เลนโคตรยากเลย
Herald Grubs, which are up right now, which is where
Smash thought he was going to keep walking, but really good heads-up play there from Pays to make sure that he does not face check a scary snake. Walking into bushes when there could be snakes is something that Australians often learn, but I didn't expect, you know, Koreans to learn it as much. There are some snakes here, but they're not quite the same.
This is a very difficult fight for T1 to take without the subjugate
my God,
value
T1
owner. So the timing of when he uses it and when T1 fight with it is going to be of paramount importance here. They're going to clear all this vision.
คือตัวอย่างชันโร่อะมันเป็นตัวที่ต้องถ้าพูดจริงๆแล้วมันต้องแบบ
might be another one of those. They weren't set up for it. They sent Lucid home, and he's actually going to the bottom
มา
side
ถ
of the
ม
map.
ป้อม
Maybe their
ซ้าย
angle
อะไร
is
เงี้
going
ย
to try to dive.
แล้วทุบ
Pays has
แก๊ง
flash,
ฆ่า
no more backup. So ultimately, actually, nobody.
เลี้ยว6แล้วอะ
Owner also leaves, even though they have
เล่นกัน
topside
แบบ
row, and
นิ่งจริง
just kind of wait for the next fight. It says small gold lead here for T1 right now, about 800
ต้อง
across
ถม
the
ไปเลย
board.
ไปฆ่าเคซันเต้
A
ค
lot
รับ
of that is in these solo lanes, right, where you see the advantage
ใน
of
เมื่อ
the
ซิก
base.
แบบ
You know, he has
แต่
a
ไม่
similar
ไม่
advantage
พร้อม
to the Cassiopeia. So man, Korea just doesn't miss these.
Yeah, he's just he's gone in. I mean, Showmaker didn't really need him to. He was just happily farming things up. As now Shiu looking for an angle towards
ซิก
Doran.
มาว่ะ
Uses that window with the aftershock there, but Doran is able to dive in on top.
ว่าดูรานเล่นโคตรดีเลยแต่ว่ามีวัดตร
Now
ง
he
นี้
doesn't
เห็น
have
แล้ว
his ult. Carry is kind of
รู้แผนหมดครับ
interested.
ไม่สน แต่ว่าได้ป้อมแรกครับ
The Ziggs up here. This is going to commit to
ซิก
the
มาแล้ว
satchel turret
มาเพื่อระเบิด
disruption
ป้อม
here as Pays will just wipe this out with a short fuse.
Yeah.
2 grubs they picked up earlier on.
And this is going to be about 1,000 gold in the lead as well, maybe even more. Probably a 1.5k advantage for T1.
ระเบิดเลยใช่ป่ะ
Not
ป้อม
exactly
มัน
the
ระ
best
เบิด
of
เลยใช่ป่ะ
plays
ชัวร์ๆอะ
here for D+. Pays even destroys the whole wave.
โกงป่ะ
This is the problem is that
ใครไม่เป็นคนคิดตัวนี้ขึ้นมา
I
วะ
think it's a fight they really wanted to take, but they didn't like the angle on it. But you can't play this comp like that.
ระยำจัดอะ
It's not like the game 2 composition where you have Aatrox that can just walk on top of the enemy AD carry. They're going to keep you at arm's length. They have so much range, and they have zoning now with this Victor in the draft, as well as the Trundle you mentioned earlier on. So
25%
if you just say,
เลือด
well, I don't
ป้อ
like
ม
that,
ระ
I
เบิด
don't like that a few more times, then the Akali is just going to be irrelevant in this game, and you're going to be building MR to try to survive and elongate a game that isn't favoring you the longer it
โดรานเรา
goes.
จะโดน
So
แต่ว่าอันติมีไหมไม่ใช่มีอันติด้วยว่ะโดรานตายแน่เลย
Well, Doran is
ไม่โดน
also not
ยั
going
ง
to
ไม่
get
คงไม่
yelled
โดนนะ
at. Does take a bit of damage, but not really too much more. So that is 0 for 2 on Smash's petrifying gazes.
Unfortunate for him, 2 attempts, 2 fails, and
Drake
T1
up and available.
I mean, they're
นี่ถ้าโกง
starting to
แล้ว
really
แข่ง
run
คลาส
away
สิก
with
เรียก
this
คลาสสิก
game.
เรียก
The D+
อุบาท
They are at their strongest in the mid game, but the Akali hasn't been accelerated. It's a late first blood in this game, just period, which favors T1.
แหม
As owners
เสียมังกร
not
ปล่อย
even
มังกร
afraid
ไป
of
ก่อน
this
เหรอ
Cassante right now. It will be
จะมาเวท
an
บู
Akali
กลับ
coming
ซี
over
บู
to
แม่ง
push
ก็
him
มา
out
บั
of
ง
the
อีก
jungle,
โอ้โห
but
แล้ว
it's
โชว์
kind
เม
of
เกอ
what
ร์
they
มากัน
wanted.
ให้
Yeah, and it should be a Drake going on over to D+ here. Ona not looking like he's very interested in going for that one. They see it with that ward that is down.
เป็น2-2 แล้วนะ
Mountain Soul, my god, Ona's value if it is going to be DK that can stack and Drakes.
I feel like this is just, it's a win for T1
มังก
either
รดิน
way. You know, they become tankier and more difficult to kill if they
มัง
can
กร
solve
ดิน
this
เคส
stack
ซัน
up.
เต้
And for D+, not even a big benefit is Doran.
มีแฟบ
Yeah, Blue's looking to chase after him. There is the quickness. The knockup is there as well, but Carrier makes his way in with the Stands United.
Wow.
Keep Doran alive and holds onto his flash.
And Shiu is just getting collapsed on here. We're going to see that subjugate now.
Yeah, he does just Pathmaker and Flash to get himself out of the way. And there's that subjugate that you were talking about.
ไม่ได้เห็นเตตีป้อมตามสูตรเลย
This first blood lasted a long time.
Yeah.
And this is
เลือด
definitely
ซีวู
gonna be
แทบไม่ลด
our
อ่ะ
longest.
That
โอ๊ย
was since round
ตายไปนะ
2.
Oh, Flash out there from Ona. Didn't want to be all outed.
Even the stun going to go over there from Faker. So
แล้ว
T1
Faker
went on
ขึ้น
both sides of
ขึ้
the
น Lord
map.
of
They're
Eight
able
ด้
to
วย
escape
เอา
with
เลือ
Doran
ด
there and get Carrier
เอา
there for the
scaling
defense
rate
to deny
เกม
that turret while also
เอ๊ะ
pushing
คือ
Shield
แผนมันคือยังไงนะ
more and more plate gold is
ไอเชี่ย
going
พี่
over
ขอ
to
นึกก่อนนะ
Faker.
แผนมันคือ
This
เล่น
gold lead
เล่น
here for
เล่น
T1 stayed about, 1,500 or so. This game hasn't changed that much, but
เล่นเลทแล้วล่ะ
that's
แผน
right
ที่ว่าต
where
อน
they
เนี้ย
want to be. That first blood stat is right where they want to be.
And it's weird because it's feeling to me like D+ are playing as if they're very happy to go late into T1 with this composition. I think it could work.
If the Akali is relevant, I agree. I think it could work. Could be a very strong situation for them where, it's an even game state and we're 6-6 kills right now, but a lot of that money is onto this Akali and Smash is scaling. Maybe he didn't get a big lead, but he's Cassiopeia. He's going to have more damage throughput than a lot of these other champions on the side of T1. But I think when the Victor is building the way that Faker is, right? He's got Rod of Ages here, which is rare. We don't always see this, actually, on Victor in this meta. It's exactly the
แต่ว่า
right
เน้น
choice.
เน้นโป๊ก
Because
ไง
T1
คือเอา
know
วิกเตอร์เอา
eventually
เจส
Showmaker's not
เอา
gonna
ซิ
be
ก
able to kill a
โป๊ก
whole lot of anybody in this game.
Well, looks like T1
แต่
will
เป็น
look
มัง
to
กร
kill
ดิน
a
เลย
whole lot of Shield in this bottom lane. See whether Carrier can show up in time. This turret is not going to die before they have to kill Shiu, though, so let's see whether he can use it. Pathmaker does come on through. Finds the Q there as well. Goes all out onto Carrier as he brings it back onto the
ถอน
turret.
กดอันติระหว่างเคเลีย
And a
กด
potential
อี
angle here as Showmaker has found Pays. Satchel looking to get himself out as there is the flash in. And it looks like First Blood's going down at 15:37. And it's Pays that falls. And it might be Second Blood soon to follow as D+ look to wipe them out. The petrifying gaze is so scary in this massive stadium. As Faker is now in an awkward spot. Korea finds another grand entrance. It's a triple kill. And Wolf, you were saying, is this Akali going to get fed? The answer is hell yes.
Quadra kill for Showmaker! This is the exact nightmare scenario T1 were trying to avoid, but they set it up themselves! They look for a play onto the Cassante under turret, and she turns it around on them. They give up so much map control to try to kill a Cassante, and you knew, we all knew Pays
คือตามสเต็ปมันต้องเป็นแบบฆ่าเคซันเต้แล้วก็ได้ป้อมล่าง
is going to be collapsing on the play because they've been fishing for a fight this entire
หนัก
game,
สุด
but
คือ
they
ตาย
never
ทัก
been
ตัว
able to
สอง
find
ตัว
one that they liked. But when T1
อันนี้ตาย
wants to
5
make the first move, D+ were all over that. So Pays here trying to collapse in and add some extra damage. Smash and Showmaker were here to intercept. They kill him as that play is happening bottom side where it's turned around by Shiu. And now all 5 members of T1 are down here and they're just trapped. That turret is not enough into this much burst damage. And suddenly, D+ Key are exactly where this composition needs to be. The
Doran tried to teleport away!
And Career does not miss those today. It's a Quadra. And I think T1 fans everywhere are hoping that UI is not going to come up with a number. Because that number in the mid lane lead is going to be massive.
เสียริเพอร์เราด้วย GG แล้วพี่คอมที่วันมันไม่ใช่คอมแบบจริงๆแล้วมันไม่น่าเลทหรอ
It is not over yet.
จริงๆแล้วมันต้องเล่นต้องแบบไอ้เชี่ยคือยังไงวะกูงงว่ะจริงๆแล้วอากาลีมันควรจะเป็นเฟเกอร์เล่นบอล
First blood to ace.
Yeah, a full ace.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting. My bingo card didn't have that option.
ไม่งั้นก็ต้องอากาลิโออ่ะต้องเล่นเร็วอ่ะคือมึงมาเมดฟาร์มกลางแบบนี้ได้เหรอวะ
Maybe even just around 16. Either way.
It was 15 and 37 seconds.
Okay.
I was looking at the clock at the moment.
Well,
I've got the stat for the stats team.
There you go. I think this next fight over Dragon is one that D+ was dreading moments before. Was like, oh, I just.
และดักซิล9พร้อม2ชิ้นครับอากาลีกูบอกเลยว่าแม่ง
Oh yeah, double Dragon. I was
คลั่งจัด
wait for this soul point fight. And Career has his ultimate available. Does not have flash, but it's coming up pretty soon. If he can actually get a flash ult here, the fight becomes so much simpler. Shiu is in the side lane right now with TP. Doran
ไม่เป็นไรครับเรียนรู้ครับทีวันก็เรียนรู้ไปเรื่อยๆครับ
Elsewhere on the map while they're setting up for this fight is
เชี่ย
Doran is catching waves. And it just doesn't look like T1 are going to be able to find their way into this one. The victor is
ปก
just
ติเลือ
not
กแคสซี่
scaled
ตลอ
up
ดเลย
just
นะพี่
yet.
ก็ไม่รู้ว่าเพราะอะไร
And they try to force their way in.
And it's so difficult as well because T1 really want to control the battlefield and get that poke down first, right? D+, they still need to be able to turn on a dime. They need to start these fights immediately before the Ziggs and the Jace just kind of kill them. But Shiu is just hanging out.
Yeah, he's like, we don't even need this dragon. Well, we have so much control, we could do this.
He's going to be able to push Faker out of his gravity well. Goes all out. He's dancing around the gravity field. That's crazy. But the Arcane Storm still comes in. Can Shiu actually make this one work, though? The answer is looking like a no. As a Mega Inferno Bomb, not quite going to be able to take him down. It's a big shield. He's buying so much time until he's dead. Faker is going to be able to put him down in the end.
They get a dragon on the cross map, of course. I mean, this was the plan originally, but D+ do it pretty slowly because they wanted to make sure they control that space. I think the initial idea with the Cassante was great because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get this whole turret and we're going to get the dragon. T1 don't really have any agency here.
รอบนี้แพ้ทีวันยังได้ไปเวอร์อยู่ไหมครับมันยังเก็บคะแนนอยู่ครับ
I still
think it's probably fine for D+,
though. I think Soul Point
ยังอีกไกล
is
ครับผ
so
ม
strong for this composition.
I agree, but I also think that they could have just not all outed Faker and could have just been like, well, my objective was get the turret, but I don't have to, as Doran is now going to be TP'd on by a Fed Akali who has Rocket Belt.
He just got his flash back, and yeah, he's going to be able to teleport out because Akali does not have any hard CC.
He also just got his
นึกว่าโชว์เมเกอร์จะรีบวิ่งมาแล้วแบบ E แล้วก็ตามไปด้วย
That's going to be a dead turret. Yeah, that's
เสียลิฟ
full turret to go
แล้วก็
down.
เสียป้อม
Smash
กลาง
getting a little bit of money back.
ทุกอย่าง
here.
ที่ DK ทำตอนนี้คือเหมือนทีวันต้องทำ
So
เว้ย
Shiu, we look at the control
แต่ว่า
of the
ไม่เป็นไรครับเขาเล่นวิกเตอร์เลดเกมครับ
He
เขา
doesn't actually
เผื่อไว้แล้วว่า
have
วิกเตอร์เลด
to
เกมจะ
all in Faker here.
เดี๋ยว
He
แบ
can
ก
just let the minions do the work, and maybe, I guess the idea is if he pulls Carrier, then they like 100% get the dragon without Carrier being there, but I just don't think this was necessary. He also flashed the ult, but then still die. So it was a nice kill from Smash, or sorry, from Pays, I suppose.
Yeah, gets out of the Mega Inferno Bomb and keeps Pays on 0-1-0. I guess there is a positive to be made from that one. Also, I think made sure that the minions took an extra bit of damage out of that outer turret by wasting some time. I don't know whether the flash was all that necessary,
เงิ
but
น
he's a
ดีเค
Cassandra.
นำนิดเดียวแต่ว่าสถานการณ์ตอนนี้คือ
I don't think he cares that much,
พอมัน
but
แพ้อากาลีอะดิ
it ends up being a defining point in this game.
Dash.
คนฆ่าอากาลีแม่ง
I'm being a little bit picky about
มัน
the
ฆ่าได้ไหมมัน
situation
มันต้อง
about,
ทอน
he didn't have to do
แต่ว่า
that,
ทอน
but
มันก็อากาลีมัน
T1
กด
gets
หมอก
something
คันอยู่แล้ว
back,
อะ
right?
แล้วมันก็แบบเดินมาตี
It's 900 here. Obviously, a lot of the money on this Akali, which is exactly where you want it to be because the Cassiopeia is scaling. This is where I was talking earlier about the question you asked was like, do D+ kind of scale? Are they comfortable with this? Well, with the Fed Akali, I think the answer is yes, but they still want to keep putting that pressure on over and over and over again. This next dragon is where they want to basically end
แต่
it.
ซิลูรอบนี้มั
They're
น
bullying poor Shiu.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, he is going to be able to pull Faker away, though. Let's see whether this is actually going to work, because Owner is down here, and it's just so hard to be this Cassante when an Owner can take away all of your stuff. Like, your stats just disappear.
Yeah, and even though he is building some of that MR now to get his Jack shows, it just doesn't show up when he presses R on you.
โอเคได้อันนี้เพลย์นี้ดี
a situation where if
เพลย์นี้ดีมาก
he might have been able to live
ได้
there.
คาซิบูเนี่ยมันต้องเป็นอย่างเงี้ย
At the end of the
แต่ว่า
day,
ที่ผ่านมา
this is a
เขา
good
ให้
play
โด
from
ราน
T1
กับ
to, again, keep this
เชน
gold
ไปทำไงแล้วแบบ
Yeah,
มันแตกพ่าย
Famine gold.
Exactly.
เฮ้ยคืนมาได้2คิวอะจาก5-0เป็น
That's the crazy part. D+ should be feeling very strong right now, but T1 just keeping it together, playing it slow. And yeah, as soon as Subjugate gets pressed, like, look, he's made of paper. I know when you go all out, you do lose a bunch of your stats, but
this
Any
does
fat
mean
line,
that they can
so-
get the top turret. You know, look at where Doran is on the minimap right now. He's like, yep, I'm not going to let them cross-map this. They're not going to cross-map me. They will cross-map the turret. They're still looking for it, by the way. D+ here on the top side. Still trying to make something happen. Because they know that, you know, they need to keep... They have the tempo and they're exactly where they want to be, but where they want to be is killing the champions over and over and over again. So they got to find those. They got to kill those. And maybe
getting
kill
him
it for a Baron?
getting a Mountain Soul will also be a huge deal for D+ if they can actually get there. That extra shield, I think, will really help into the poke. Not the same as an Ocean Soul, but still does do a similar job.
Yeah, notice that Pays did just use his ultimate there because he thought there was a chance that D+ were in fact on that Baron. He used his ult to check. so doesn't have it. I don't know if you guys
เคสเหงาครับใช่ตอนนี้มัน
It's actually really smart. It's
มันยืน
Casio
เลน
who
เจอ
does
แค
a
สซี่
lot
มัน
of
เหนื่อย
that.
They were on the same page as me. They're like they're trying to kill us, but they might also be killing the Baron. We don't have enough vision to know. So it was a nice check there. D+ were not taking that risk because they're kind of risk averse this series, which I think is a good idea. But this comp does again need to got to have your foot on the gas.
Well, Carrier going to take a lot of damage there as the daggers do fly forward, and we have a minute on this dragon. And fighting for Dragon Vision is where D+ are. They need a lot of that if they want to make sure that they can get out of the way of the poke.
Showmaker doesn't have Prio in the bottom lane, so getting access to the fight is going to be a little bit tricky for him. It's still 40 seconds to go, and so they're doing the Shiu strategy again. They're like, maybe Faker will go up and answer him, and then we'll just do the whole dance again.
Or maybe Owner will go up there because the subjugate value is so
ด้วย
high.
ความที่ปล่อยมังกรไม่ได้เลยไม่อยากปล่อยพุ่มบานาน่าปล่อยป้อมบนแม่งเลย
I mean, he's just working on
wait,
this, and
yeah.
they also left the Akali to the side lane as well, so Showmaker should be able to get Prio.
Oh, this is
Don't
just
hide
another
Jemma
1-3-1 comp, I guess, Wolf.
Yeah, it's the Cassante 131.
Uh-huh. I look, what that another thing, like my bingo card's useless, man. Like, what does it even have on it? Oh, man. All right, well, D+ going to look to try and defend as T1 have a lot of people in mid.
D+
and Shiu is just ignoring it completely.
D+ are like, you guys are too early for the dragon. I'm calling you out for it. As they're going to get that whole topside turret, and he can still TP in.
Yeah.
There's the turret, and there's the TP.
Well, he is going to move on down now. As Smash looking to push Carrier out of here. Shiu has teleported forward. Look at that big old shield that he's got. From
โปเอาแค
his
เรียให้มัน
quest
แบบโล่ระเบิดก่อน
completion, Lucid gets into the
Malah,
dragon
iya,
pit. That
laptop
one
ni.
is fully reset. Showmaker
May
is
kamong
spotted as the blast cone gets rid of him, but T1 are routed. They are pushed
สุดท้ายเขามายืนได้อยู่ดี
away from this river.
Aria's on a flank. He's actually just going to back and ult in. They have to force something.
Yeah, gets on top of Pace Korea. Not going to be
สวย
able
มากเลย
to
ครับ
get
โด
for
รา
an
น
engage
เมื่อ
though
กี้
as Smash gets put in the kennel. Shiu just taking a lot of damage here, and this is the poke that we were talking about. Miasma comes in, Doran taking a lot of damage off to
ดูรัง
the
กับมังกร
side. And now Carrier, oh my
Oh my
god,
god, Carrier
you
โคตร
monster.
สวยเลยว่ะ
Doran dies immediately, Pace follows suit.
Faker
Faker
โดน
pushed away in D+. They turn on a dime, and T1 couldn't even blink. They're just dead.
Arias says, I don't need a health bar to make this happen. What a play
เอาเรา
from
เค
the
เรียไม่ได้ออก
Makai.
ตาย
Okay, Wolf, I've got it figured out. It's not T1 Homegrounds giving Carrier POMs. It's just support POMs.
I guess so. Buzz owner is just trying to hold
เชี่ย
waves
คาเรียมันจะ
here.
ตายอยู่แล้ว
They
อ่ะ
are
แม่ง
in tatters.
สวยสัตว์
Career
เลย
might
ว่ะ
have just won the game. What a play after so many good knockups in the early
So-
game. He gets chunked and he says, I'm still going in. Speaking of still going in, Showmaker was trying to continue to go in, but he does decide to stop that now and let owner be the lone survivor here for T1. This time it's not a second ace, but wouldn't it be crazy
โอ๊ก
if
จน
it were
แคเรีย
two
มัน
team
ต้อง
fights and two
Look
aces?
at
ต้องจบแล้วเพลย์เนี้ย
Look at this. He is so low health. They're all so stacked up though. Look at this. All vision as well. And then the follow-up from Smash is instantaneous. And it's just the wombo combo.
And Faker knew he had the gravity field down, but Korea went for the flash play to make sure that he guaranteed it. That was absolutely insane.
One of the
man.
craziest recon plays we've ever seen. At 0 health, he does it. Crazy.
ไอเชี่ยทุกคนคัมแบ็กในราว3-4 ทีวันแม่ง
the two they get.
Oh my god
And that's enough to get Mountain Soul. And yes, you got the subjugate, but you only get it on one target. And now even this Cassiopeia,
ออก
who's
ทะเล
very tanky,
ตามสูตรแบบ
is a
ก่อน
huge
เวอร์
threat
จ
that
ริง
you
ๆว่ะ
can't necessarily
คือ
cut
ก่อน
through
แบบ
very
ประตูเวอ
quickly.
ร์แม่งกำลังจะเปิด
Big
ก๊อก
bomb
ก๊อก
and
ก๊อก
burst is
แม่ง
gonna hit
สูตรแม่งมา
shields.
แล้วแม่งออกทะเลก่อนเลย
That's a problem.
Yeah, this is the
คือ
thing. Like that first salvo of poke is going to come in.
ตอนแรกนึกว่าแบบเฮ้ยทีวันฟอร์มดีแปลกแบบนี้แม่ง
And
ตอนเวอร์มันจะแย่ป่ะวะ
either back
ปกติแบบ
away
ฟอร์มดีแบบนี้
or
มัน
go for that hard
มันจะไม่
commit like we saw
คือ
earlier.
ปกติทีวันจะไม่ได้ฟอร์มดีก่อนเวอร์มันจะแต่แค่ได้ตั๋วไปอะไรเงี้ย
And yeah, you're exactly
มันจะไม่ได้
right.
ฟอร์มดี แล้วปรากฏว่าแบบที่ผ่านมาประมาณ2 สัปดาห์ที่แล้วมันแบบฟอร์มแม่งดีมากเลยอะเจอใครแม่งก็เจอเจนจียังตบแบบ 2-0 อะไรเงี้ย
Not gonna quite find that
คือฟอร์มแม่ง
shot
ดี
pass.
มากอะ DK ฮาวาไลท์เลยโดนหม
I
ด
still feel like T1's composition
แล้วกลับ
has
เข้า
a
สู่ฟอร์ม
lot
แบบ
to offer, right? Like, if they are able to stabilize this game at all, I mean, the gold lead is not
แม่งเลยแล้ว
gigantic.
คือวันนั้น
And
แม่
they
ง
have
คือ
one
แบ
of
บวัน
these
ที่ชนะ
comps
แบบ
where
เจนจีใน
the
บ้าน
win
อะแล้ว
conditions are
ใน
so
บ้านเจนจี
different
แล้วแบบ
to
ว่า
that of
ชนะได้
Spain. If
เชียร์อัพ
they're
กันแบ
able
บ
to play out these
เรา
fights
ชนะ
the
แล้ว
way
เว้ย
they
เรา
want
กลับมา
to,
ฟอร์มดี
it
แล้ว
will look very different. The problem is
สัปดาห์ถัดมาแม่ง
DK
เปลี่ยน
have been able to play the way they want. As there's the ult from Lucid going in on to Owner. He tries to interrupt and does manage to do so. but is still going to get pushed out of his jungle.
If they kill Owner there, they get the Baron and they open up the base, but he is able
เพ
to
สโยน
survive.
คิวพลาด
I was
ใส่
going to send
แบ
him
บ
back.
หมดแล้ว
Like, maybe
แบบ
they still get this
พลังหมด
anyway.
แล้วโยนคิวใส่รถยังพลาดอ่ะแม่งเหมือนแบบว่ารู้สึกแบบน้องมันรู้สึกแบบเซ็งหมดแล้ว
Showmaker looks for the Ollie.
Seeing whether he can just kill Faker here as the Arcane Storm goes down. Showmaker just going to dash away those sees the teleport coming in. And Career's playing defense. Doran dives on top of Showmaker. And they're off the Baron. Lucid gets over to try and keep them away from his mid laner. Now the brick wall making his way in. Pathmaker comes on down, and there's the all-out. Gets on top of Carrier to remove him from the fight, and T1's health bars are getting flattened once again. Faker in the back of the red pit. He'll be taken out. Both solo laners down. Carrier survives, but Ona may not be so lucky, and she was getting his revenge as he takes out the troll. And there's another ulti from Lucid to finish them off. D+, man, they are thriving once again when the crowd is against them.
It's been over 2 years since T1 have lost a home ground, and when they lost the telecom war, his career will lose his life.
Yeah, it's going to be taken down. Pace still does a lot of damage, buddy.
The base is open, and I think it's just not going to matter. Pace trying his best.
The flashing from Showmaker, and he's going to put him down. Does not care about the minefield. He'll take out the Nexus turrets as well. And D+ Key, after getting flattened in game one, just say no. And T1's winning streak at their home grounds will be stopped here and now.
Look at Career, he's getting hyped. He just beat the most.
Have you written it down? You've written it down,
I wrote it down, but
That's
it's not,
my
it's not what you expect.
Oh.
A Career getting hyped.
ที่คนอื่นเขาฟอร์มดีไอ้ฟอร์มไม่ดีเขาเปลี่ยนทีมเปลี่ยนตัวเพื่อให้ฟอร์มดีที่วันฟอร์มดีเปลี่ยนตัว
First in Paris, and now all the way into August, halfway there, they're the first team to beat T1 in front of the biggest homeground crowd we have had in LCK history, and they do it off the back of patient play, and only you knew.
Well, I mean, apparently I knew. I think I woke up from a fever dream and did my predictions because I could have sworn I typed in T1, but I actually saw there was a screenshot of what I put in the chat, and it was definitely a D+ there. And, this, after game one, I was like, well, yeah, no, this is how this makes sense, you know, and all of our T1 predictions were true, and let's move on with our lives. But D+, like the tenacity that this team has now managed to find is so huge because they used to just collapse like a house of cards when things got too hard. And now it's the opposite.
Yeah, and for T1 in both losses, D+ were just so impressive. They were just setting up such a tension. It's like a rubber band snapping, right? You know, with the Faker Rise play there, the rest of the team wasn't ready to follow, and they end up collapsing and dying under all the weight of everything D+ had set up. And then in this game, it's a similar story where they're like, okay, I want to try to get something done on the map. I want to try to get that pick on the Cassante, and it's a faster rotation over from the Akali. Showmaker picks up a quadra, they get aced, and the game just ends in that moment. And it's just picking the right battles. That was what D+ wasn't doing in game one, and what they weren't doing last week.
แล้วทำไงเนี่ยทอมมึงทำยังไงเนี่ยตอนนี้มึงจะซ่อมเครื่องยนต์ยังไงคือเครื่องยนต์ไม่กำลังแบบรถสปอร์ตแล้วตอนแรกอะทอมมึงไปเปลี่ยนหม้อน้ำเปลี่ยนอะไรทีนี้มึงซ่อมยังไงอะมึงจำไม่ได้น็อตตัวไหนไขออกน็อตตัวไหนไขเข้ามึงเปิดฝากระโปรงไขนั่นไขนี่น็อตลืมไขจนเสร็จแล้วก็แบบเฮ้ยไม่ดีว่ะแบบเก่าดีกว่าอ้าวเฮียพอประกอบเหมือนเดิมเอ้าทำไมน็อตเหลือ
It just falls apart.
I was worried that we had already gotten to the point in the game where it just wasn't going to work, and they got one opportunity, and then here,
Korea,
this was incredible. I mean, if he wins POM, it's for this moment alone, and I think that's
แต่เกมเนี้ยพี่ว่านะมันไม่
I didn't vote for it, but I think you
ถ้าเปลี่ยนตัวก็
absolutely
อาจจะเปลี่ยน
could.
โมเมนตัมตัวเองเสียโมเมนตัมเปล่าๆแต่
I mean, Lucid also
พี่ว่า
had
หลักๆอะดาร์ฟมัน
unbelievable game.
แคสซี่เฟิร์สพิกพี่ว่ามัน
on the Jarvan, and here on the
คือเขากลัว
Nefarious
แคสซี่มาแล้วแบบไม่มีเชน
he wins it,
แบบ
not gonna
กลัว
be
อากาลีอะไรอย่างงี้มั้งพี่คิดว่านะ
I'll say I went for
เขากลัวแคสซี่ไปกลางแล้วแบบเขากลัวว่าถ้าเลือกแคสซี่แล้วเดี๋ยวเจออากาลีกลาง
Even though it wasn't
ทีนี้
necessarily his setup,
เขาก็เลยแบบ
he played so well with the lead
คิด
he
ว่า
was
แบบ
given.
ไม่อยากบายแคสซี่ไปกลางเจออากาลี
He shows
ก็เลยแบบ
that he does.
คือถ้าเกิดอยากเล่นแคสซี่ตอนนี้ต้องอยากเล่นแคสซี่เลนล่างพร้อมกับเชน
Look at them.
Look at Career.
Career, man. Absolute chaos.
เสียงโคตร chaos อะ
Celebrating D Plus's ability to play clean, controlled League of Legends. But that's the comms. Showmaker's going to pick up.